But why, some say, the moon? Why choose this as our goal? And they may well ask, why climb the highest mountain? Why, 35 years ago, fly the Atlantic? We choose to go to the moon. We choose to go to the moon.
This is Legends and Libations.
We choose to go to the moon in this decade and do the other thing. Not because they are easy, but because they are hard.
Welcome back to Legends and Libations.
I'm Matthew.
And I'm Jesse.
And it's been a while since we've seen you guys.
Yeah, I've been missing out on sipping through history. I feel like I've been not doing much sipping. I feel like this summer has been rough.
Talk about rough. Remember like a few months ago when we did I think the second episode of the year, and I said that I was the sickest I've ever been.
Yeah, I remember that. And I was like, I hope you get better.
Yeah. And then my body was like, here, hold my beer. And then I got even sicker. Ugh. So that's where we've been for like the last 3 months. I've been going to doctor's appointments, and I feel like I'm the commercial with the insurance problems. And you're like in all the doctor's offices, and they're like, "Oh, do you have to go here for this scan?"
How many times did you have to call the doctors during this time?
Oh, dude, we spent so much time on the phone with the doctors that we know the nurses on their first name basis. And
wow,
yeah, it was bad. I think I had 18 vials of blood drawn.
Oh,
and
for the vampire bank, I'm sure. Yeah. Yeah. So sickness and depression just covering the summer.
Yeah, unfortunately, but
back on top. Well, I don't know if we're on top, but we're getting somewhere.
Yes, we got a new space.
New space. It's very symmetrical. Kind of like that. Yeah, I do really like that. Yeah,
our original studio got converted into a bedroom for my son. He finally had to be moved into his own room, which is it's bittersweet.
Stealing our spots.
No, it's a good thing though, because he likes his room, and I thought originally that we're gonna like leave the decorations in there for him, but then I just like completely stole all the decorations that were in the studio and brought them into our bedroom.
Yeah, so
it's okay. He gets new decorations. Yeah. They're just not rock and roll like these.
Yeah, we're much more rock and roll in here.
Yeah, we are.
I'm so glad to be back out here. Here. So this episode is actually sponsored.
Our first sponsored episode.
Yeah, Druid City Brewery of Tuscaloosa, Alabama said, "We like you guys, we guess, and we're going to go ahead and sponsor your next episode."
And we said, "Have you even listened to an episode?"
And they're like, "Don't you do conspiracies or something?" I was like,
more or less sometimes. Yeah.
There's always some kind of Nazi takeover somewhere in there.
Yes. You can't have a conspiracy without a Nazi.
Yeah, exactly.
So we went and talked to those guys at the Druid City Brewery.
Oh, what a cool spot. Like they have shows that they do there.
They have comedy, like stand-up nights. They have bands that play.
And they brew all their own beer. I don't know if they brew on location or just in general. I remember him saying something about it, but
they were getting set up to like brew there on location.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It started not that long ago here, and the people who own it are just fantastic. Very easy, very chill, very cool place to hang out.
They probably thought that we just like met them and then disappeared for 3 months.
Stole their beer and left. We didn't steal your beer. We promise we didn't even drink any of it.
I can show you a note from my doctor if I need to.
Yeah, we gotta show them notes.
So what kind of beer did we get?
So we got it's called Druid City Moonlighter Indian Pale Ale. So it's an IPA. This is probably the most hipster thing we've had on camera yet.
I think you're right.
How do you feel about IPAs?
I used to not like IPAs at all when I first started drinking beer, and then I think I became one of those purists of the bitterness and embraced the bitterness. I think when life got hard, I embraced the taste of hard beer.
I am such with IPAs. I really enjoy like the ones that have like grapefruit or citrus flavors.
Okay, so you're one of the fruity beer.
Yeah, damn it, I do like my fruity beer, I guess. That's so this is a Druid City Brewing Company Moonlighter Indian Pale Ale, which of course this name and the suggestion of the gentleman we spoke to there gave us the idea of going over the moon.
Moon.
You remember that one time we said we're not going to go do anything bigger than Antarctica?
Antarctica was too big. And then now we're going to do an entire planet.
Oh, look, that's dark.
I don't know, does the moon count as a planet? I guess it does.
I mean, in medieval times, it was considered a planet. Yeah. So was the sun, though. So I'm not sure what you do with that.
That was when they thought that the Earth was the center of the universe.
Geocentric.
Geocentric,
yeah, not heliocentric. Heliocentric is what we actually are. Mm-hmm. That's a nice dark pale or Indian pale ale. I'm excited.
Let's try it.
Yeah.
I don't think we've actually tried this beer before.
I'm liking just the looks of it. Look at that froth.
Mm-hmm.
Like that looks like a proper beer that you would get like
in a cartoon.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know why they have beer in cartoons though.
Like when they're mining and stuff, like in 1950s.
Yeah, exactly. Big fan. I like it.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the hops are not overtaking me.
No,
It's not citrusy, but it's like it has a hint, but it's like the hops are not like oppressive. They're like, here I am.
mm-hmm.
They're definitely on the dance floor hanging out, and they're taking the scene.
Mm-hmm. What would you say is like the main flavor?
Barley.
Barley.
I don't know. What are you tasting?
Dude, I'm asking you. I have like the least advanced palate in the world.
It does seem to have like almost like citrus peel
Mm-hmm.
flavor in there, which is kind of nice.
I taste that too.
Yeah.
But you might just be like suggesting that to me though, and I'm like tasting it now because you said it.
Now when you guys drink this, you're gonna be like, yes,
citrus
citrus
peel.
flavor. I taste that.
But it's 7.3% alcohol, so it's
Yeah,
nothing
so-
to sneeze at here.
Yeah, you know, going out with these, you could end up falling out.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I mean, it's very delicious, very drinkable.
I have nothing bad to say about it, and this is the first one that we've had.
Yeah.
You know, usually when you try a new beer, you're like, okay, well, I don't know if
What
I'm
am
going
I
to have
doing
that
here?
one again.
Yeah, what am I doing here? This
Yeah.
one I could easily be like, go up there
Mhm.
and be like, may I have another, please?
Exactly. Let me get the Moonlighter.
Which is just a cool name. I wonder why they called it Moonlighter.
I don't know. That
They had a very space theme to like their
room.
The room. They have like their room
Yeah.
that they do stuff in. It's very much like
They had some games, I want to say.
Yeah, like Nintendo
retro
64,
style.
yeah.
Video games.
it was cool.
I'm a big fan of that sort of thing because, you know, we've gone all like digital with the downloads with the games, but I'm a big fan of like the cartridge
Yeah,
and having the controllers that plug up, and you don't have to worry about the batteries dying, which is great. I hate things with batteries in them because you always got to
always
charge
gotta
them.
replace Yeah,
Mhm.
charge them. Yeah. So the moon.
Oh, the moon.
God, it's so big.
Do you want me to tell you how big it is, Jesse?
I'm sure. I don't know how
Okay.
big the moon is.
Well, it's okay because I know a lot. I know more about the moon than I know about any other thing right now because it's been so long since we did an episode, and I am sick of the moon. To be honest with you, I've been sleeping, and breathing the moon.
If it was
For, like,
made
the
of
last
cheese,
3
that would have been
months.
very French of you.
Did you watch Wallace and Gromit when you were a kid?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, remember the one where they went to the moon? The moon was made of cheese, and he's like sitting there like slicing off part of it and putting it on the crackers that he brought with him. And then they moved to different spots on the moon because like the cheese tastes different in the different spots.
Oh, that'd be amazing. I would go on that vacation.
Oh, I love Wallace and Gromit.
Yeah. So how big is the moon?
I have no idea. I didn't write that down exactly.
Oh,
But the
cool.
okay, no, the moon is roughly a quarter the diameter of the Earth. So
if
it's
I
about
knew
a fourth of the size.
So if I knew the size of the Earth, this would be very
Mhm.
helpful. Did you know that Roger Bacon, whoever that guy is,
Who's related to Francis Bacon?
I think he must be, but he said if you were to walk to the moon 20 miles a day, it would take you 14 years, 7 months, and 29 days. But I'm not sure he actually knew how far the moon is. I don't know who Roger Bacon is.
I don't either, but the moon is actually 238,000 miles away.
Yeah, so
It's 30 times the Earth's diameter away. So if you lined up 30 of the Earths, then that would get us to the
yeah,
moon.
I'm not sure Roger Bacon was right about that.
I-
I didn't do the math.
When did he live? Who knows?
Random facts, right?
Exactly.
You know what I really think of whenever I hear of the moon?
What do you think of?
You remember, did you watch Avatar The Last Airbender?
Oh, yeah.
Remember when Sokka is like, my girlfriend turned it to the
the
moon?
moon? Yes.
So good. So good.
He was actually doing good with a girl for once.
For once,
and
he
then
was
she turns
going
into the
steady,
moon.
and then she
Yep.
gets. If we ruin that for anyone who's watching it, we're sorry. That's first season, so watch more, get it
I think that
finished.
came out in 2007, maybe.
I don't think this is our fault.
No.
Yeah, this is our
There's
fault.
like a statute of limitations on spoilers for things, and if
Yeah.
it's been out for 15 years or so,
If
then
it's in a new
okay.
show or it's in theaters, yeah, fair enough.
I'll try not to spoil that for you.
Yeah, but here we are. That's a
Um,
long time ago.
So the moon, it's about a quarter of the Earth's diameter, but it only has 1/6 of the Earth's gravity. And it is actually only 1.2% of the Earth's mass, which we'll talk about later, which is really weird if you think about like how does it
go from a quarter to
1% almost?
Oh,
yeah.
Jeez.
But we'll talk about that when we get to some more conspiratorial topics about the moon in a little bit.
I'm going to be honest with conspiracies. I knew that Matthew would handle it, so I didn't look up anything.
That's why I've been going
because I wanted
crazy,
to be.
dude.
I really wanted to be amazed by moon knowledge.
Oh man, I'm going to give you some like nuts things about the moon when we get to it in a little bit. So you may notice that you may have heard that the moon is tidally locked with the Earth. How we only ever see one side of the moon.
Yeah, it's like super obsessed with us.
Yes, it is. It can't,
it's like,
it can't look away.
Love that feeling.
Right. Even when it's going through like its different phases, that is still the same side that's facing us.
Yeah. It's always genuinely interested in what we're doing.
Yeah, because its rotation matches our rotation. And so we never see a different side. That's why you hear about the dark side of the moon and like the mystery. of it.
The mystery Pink Floyd songs. It was Pink Floyd, right?
Yes.
The dark side.
Dude,
of the moon.
I was listening to a podcast about this and they were talking about the dark side of the moon. And they're like, how does the dark side of the moon, does it ever get light? And they're like, no, the dark side of the moon that's why it's called the dark side of the moon. And I'm like, it definitely gets light because when it's dark on our, like when we see the dark part of it, it's getting the sun on the other side most of the
It's
time.
dark to us.
Yes, it's dark to us. That's why I call it the dark side of the moon. Not that it never gets light side of the moon. And then I turned that podcast off.
The invisible side of the moon.
Yeah. It's actually the 5th largest moon in our solar system, which is
Who
surprising.
has bigger moons than us?
Jupiter and Saturn.
I bet you Jupiter's moons are like as big as Earth or bigger. I bet you're just gigantic.
Yeah, they're huge. I think Ganymede is the largest one, and it's Jupiter's moon.
Yeah. Isn't Titan the one that might have life
An
on
atmosphere. I think Titan has an atmosphere, which our moon allegedly doesn't have an atmosphere, a hydrosphere, which means like a water cycle, I think.
Or moon. So
Or-
dry.
Yeah. And
Which is very opposite. Like in the medieval world, or for a longest time, they used to think that the moon was moist.
why do they think that?
They thought the moon would bring, you know how like in the evening it gets more
Damp.
damp. They thought
Dew
that
and
was
stuff like
the
that.
moon that brought it.
That's a
I don't know
very
if there was
odd
any
thing.
logic to it. I think they just were like, I'm experiencing this.
Correlation doesn't equal causation. Correlation. I mean correlation.
No.
Coralization. The process of turning into coral. It's like what happens when you become part of Davy Jones' crew in Pirates of the Caribbean. You get the coralization. But do you know how the moon affects the Earth?
Depends on who I ask. Some people tell me like a lot of things about how the moon affects the Earth.
Okay, we're just in the basic information section
Basic
right now.
information.
Save the crazy stuff.
I
realized that was a leading into a possible crazy section, but
possibly because of like, you know, everyone has like a lot of opinions of the moon. Like this big beautiful thing hanging out in the sky, and
we're just talking like factual though. It's like the tides is the main thing that it does. Yeah. So the moon is what creates the tides, and it like pushes and pulls on the water. It allows the ecosystem to be dynamic, and so it's just like not all stagnant
rather than
all the
just
time.
staying still all the time. Yeah.
Yes, because if we didn't have the moon, so the Earth is on a tilt, as you probably heard before. I want to say it's like
5th grade science class.
5th grade science class. Yes.
A little tilted.
The Earth is on a 23.5 degree tilt, and the moon helps like stabilize that tilt, because if we didn't have that tilt, then the Earth would like wobble a lot.
It'd be like a top, and sometimes whole parts of the country would be scorched.
Yeah. Well, it would be boring, I think. If we didn't have the tilt at all, it would just be the same temperature all the time. Or like we wouldn't have seasons. The tilt is what gives us seasons, and the moon helps keep our tilt. And yeah, you're right. If we didn't have the moon, we would be like in like a wobbly state.
Yeah, if we got wobbly, that'd be scary.
And they would be like more chaotic climate than we're already getting now.
Very chaotic.
Yes. As it has rained like almost every day this summer. It seems
It
like.
has been so rainy.
Do you know anything about how the moon might have been formed?
So I've heard that like a long time ago, maybe like an asteroid or something hit the Earth, and actually the moon is part of the Earth, and it broke off and got like pushed out. But
What do you think about that?
I don't think
Wouldn't there
about
be
it.
like a big chunk like missing
the ocean
of the Earth? Yeah, that's what I heard too. Is that one of the main theories is that it hit something like an asteroid, a big celestial body collided with the Earth billions of years ago, and the chunk broke out of the Pacific Ocean.
That seems crazy.
It does seem crazy. And then like, I guess like in the chaos and like the swirling around and the temperatures and the gravity.
It's like, actually, I'm going to let you go and just keep you that close.
Yeah. Sounds like a song.
Yeah.
But they don't think that one is like the most prevailing theory. The most prevailing theory is that we collided. It's very similar, but we collided with a Mars-sized planetoid.
Oh, good job.
And out of that explosion, like the matter formed of the moon, and the Earth stayed relatively like the same size that it was.
We weren't changing,
but we
made them change.
Yes. I think we obliterated that like planetoid thing because it didn't stay the same way that it was before. And the moon is now maybe comprised of like elements from us and elements from them, because they find isotopes or whatever and like different minerals and stuff like that are similar to what we have here on Earth on the moon. So that shows that maybe we were created from the same mass.
So we're sure the moon is not made of cheese.
Unfortunately, it doesn't seem like the moon is made of cheese.
Did you know that there was a kind of a medieval folklore that there was a man on the moon, which we've all heard about?
I've heard of the man on the moon. Can you tell me about that?
Yeah, he was punished. He was put there because he kept on putting thorns in the way when people were trying to go to mass.
Oh, really?
And then later, a woman was put there because she kept on making butter on Sunday.
Oh, man.
And so there's two people on the moon for that reason. Others have suggested that Cain, after he killed Abel, was put there as like a type of punishment, a type of hell. Could you imagine just having to walk around? It does look like hell.
It's just it's very desolate, landscape.
Man.
So I have a little bit about it being gray, though, is that the moon wouldn't appear as gray as it does to us if you were to like look at it in the context of like a high definition image that showed like which kind of like the soil composition in different places, that it would appear to be a little bit more colorful than it looks to us.
I heard that even 200-300 years ago, the moon would have looked very different because you would have also saw the Milky Way behind it.
Oh, because there's no light pollution.
Yeah, because there's no light pollution. But now there's just so much light pollution that even if you're somewhere where there is no lights, it still is so much duller than it used to be.
I think you're right. And I think that plays into what I was just talking about too, is because since there's no light pollution, we're not seeing as high definition of the moon's detail as we can now. Because like when you look up at the moon now, I don't really like make out the man in the moon. I feel like I can't see it that well. I can totally
see the rabbit though.
You can see the rabbit?
Yeah, well, we'll talk more about that. There's two cultures that have the rabbit.
Okay. Tell me about the rabbit in just a second. I just wanted to talk about that the surface of the moon is covered with the lunar dust. You've probably heard of the lunar dust, but that's called the regolith. I didn't know that before.
Is it really deep like snow or?
Yes. So it would be the soil before you get to like the hard rock of the moon, is that it's covered with dust because it's been hit by asteroids, meteorites, that sort of thing for millions of years. And then since it doesn't have like the water cycle and the wind and the atmosphere to like always be cycling through these things, like it's not blowing it over and like not converting it and storming and raining, it just sits there.
So there's just no wind or anything. There's no experience there.
Yeah. It's like nothing's happening allegedly on the surface of the moon. So this like dust just piles up, and that's what's called the regolith.
That's how my room was when I came back after the summer. It was just like, wow, nothing's so moved in here for a while.
Yeah. Since there's no like moisture though, like the moisture on Earth like makes things softer and like more round and like squishy. But since that's not on the moon at all, like the dust is sharp. So it's like
sharp
penetrating dust that's going to get into your moon boots and like your visor, and if you inhale it, that'll make you sick. It almost killed one of the astronauts because he breathed it in.
Why is he breathing moon dust?
It was on his spacesuit when they got back into like the lunar module, and he took it off and like he accidentally inhaled some of it, and it was like cutting his lungs and stuff on the inside.
Jeez.
But since another thing that happens on the moon, because it doesn't have the atmosphere, is like the temperature varies very drastically from like the light to the dark. Like where we see the divide of the light and the dark moving across the moon, that on the light part of it, could be up to 260 degrees Fahrenheit. And then when it passes into the shadow, it'll swing all the way to negative 280 degrees. So it's going from extreme hot to extreme cold. So like the astronaut spacesuits and the equipment and stuff has to be able to handle both of those.
Extreme cold. Holy smokes.
Yeah. So that's crazy. So yeah, tell me about the folklore to do with the moon.
Oh God, there's so much folklore. Well, first, a lot of times the moon is usually associated with a goddess of some sort, a feminine. There's been times that it's associated with masculine, but not usually.
I could see it being a feminine sort of thing.
Which I hope that has nothing to do with the dramatic cold and hot. Hopefully not.
The mood swings of the moon.
Hopefully not. Hopefully not. Hopefully it's not that sexist. But the moon,
You get down to it, and it's just really discrimination and
Stereotyping
stereotyping.
that you
stereotyping
scientists
of
are
the
just
moon.
stereotyping. But the moon's feminine, so it gets really hot and really cold, and you're just like,
The moon's canceled.
canceled the moon.
New shirts.
So apparently, in the year 1178, Jarvis of Canterbury wrote, "This year, on the 18th of June, when the moon, a slim crescent, first became visible, a marvelous phenomenon was seen by several men who were watching it. Suddenly, the upper horn of the crescent was split in two.
Wow.
From that midpoint of the division, a flaming torch sprang up, spewing out over a considerable distance fire, hot coals, and sparks. The body of the moon, which was below, withered like a wounded snake. This happened a dozen times or more, and when
Really?
the moon returned to normal, the whole crescent took on a blackish appearance."
It sounds like it was hit by something.
Yeah,
but a lot
right?
of somethings.
Yeah, right?
Wow. I wonder if it was a like a meteor shower or like a part of a comet.
Yeah, and this is the same thing as recorded through a few places. And it's like, wow, that's super weird.
Are they all around the same time?
Yeah, around that same year.
That's cool.
So
but in
it's like, but they're watching this thing. This thing, the moon was like a stable
with the naked
thing in
eye,
there.
right?
Yeah.
They're not using telescopes or anything.
But the moon was like the moon and the sun are so stable.
You can count on them.
And for that sudden change, could you imagine?
I mean, you literally do your calendars by them.
Yeah, and you're just like, okay, is this apocalyptic? What's
Right.
happening?
You would
here?
think that the world was ending.
And that apocalyptic nature of moon and sun and things happening to it follow a lot of cultures. It becomes extremely big in the Aztec culture, which we'll get into probably in a little bit.
Right.
I'm not quite yet. Other folklores, obviously the Greek and Roman had their moon gods. I didn't realize Selene, I think, was the goddess. Of the moon in Greek.
That sounds right.
I could be wrong about that because I always thought it was like Artemis or Hecate.
Artemis sounds like she would be a moon goddess.
She is. She's associated with the moon, but Selene, again, I'm actually now wishing I wrote this down because I might be giving the wrong name, but definitely started with an S.
The Greek gods are kind of like astrology. It's like they could all apply to everything if you wanted to.
Apparently, it's only taken by 2 horses rather than 4 for Helios, the sun god.
Oh, because it weighs less.
Yeah, it weighs so much less. They could have just done it with 1 horse if they know what we know. It's only
right, exactly. It's only 1.6% density of the Earth. Yeah,
So
they could probably carry it on their back.
yeah. They could have just got a guy to carry it.
Yeah, Atlas is like, why couldn't I just carry the moon? It's like way less dense.
Way less dense. He kept on bodybuilding.
I know.
Oh, jeez. Do you know that the word moon, do you know that the word Monday comes from moon?
Did not know that.
Moon day. Yeah. So all of our
I know Thursday.
Thursday.
That's the only one I know.
Then we have Freya Day. Saturday's Saturn. Sunday is
Saturn.
Sun,
Yes.
or Soul. Monday's Moon Day. Tuesday's Tyre.
Tuesday's Taco Day.
Oh yeah, that's what I meant. Not Tyre, not the god of war, but the god
No.
of tacos.
Yes.
Taco Day. And then Wednesday's Woden or Odin.
Okay.
Yeah, all of them are associated with different gods.
Woden. That's funny.
Yeah, can you imagine if like that is the name because that was his original name and it got transformed into Odin?
I see that.
But could you imagine watching like
Avengers or something?
Like, Woden's coming our
Comes
way.
Woden. Look out for
is
woke
cool.
Woden.
Woke Woden. That's hilarious.
That is.
I like alliterations. That's why we're called Legends and Libations.
Oh yeah, I'm a sucker for
Yeah,
alliterations.
we love alliterations. So, any more moon facts we need to know about?
Oh, I've got tons of moon facts, but there's a popular thing about the moon when you bring it up in conversation and you talk about conspiracies. What's the thing that people always go to?
People, I've heard this. I never heard any explanation why, but they always say the moon landing was fake.
So you,
I mean, if we think about it, like if you remember Californication by
Red Hot Chili Peppers.
they say they say
space may be the final frontier, but it's filmed in a Hollywood basement.
exactly,
Yes.
and you're just like, okay, that's definitely talking about the fake moon landing.
That is. I like the references in that song. So apparently all of this or like this real theory about the moon landing being fake really got going in the 1970s when this guy named Bill Kaysing wrote a book called We Never Went to the Moon.
It did happen in the 60s, right? 69?
Right, 69 is when Apollo 11 landed on the moon. We'll talk about the Apollo missions shortly. But yeah, this book, We Never Went to the Moon, was published in 1976. And if you think about it, this was around the time of Vietnam, and we had the JFK assassination right before we went to the moon, which was 1968. I think.
So we already don't trust anything. It's
Right.
like our modern government. I don't trust anything.
Right, exactly. So there's already this level of mistrust to deal with the government. Did you know that the term conspiracy theory was invented to discredit people who questioned the JFK assassination?
Really?
So there was no one was a conspiracy theorist before that. It was like a term that they used to be derogatory to people who were questioning the narrative about who shot JFK.
Wow.
So anyone who didn't believe it was Lee Harvey Oswald was a conspiracy theorist.
I had quite a few students follow that conspiracy to see who actually did it. It was great.
Oh, we could do an episode on that. I've got a really good theory about JFK, but it's going to take me a while to explain that.
We'll talk about that one day.
So when you hear people talk about the moon landing, do you know some of the things that they use to claim?
Something about the flag not really waving, but I'm like, it wouldn't wave. There's no wind.
Well, no, they say that the flag is waving.
Oh,
is the
okay,
thing.
yeah,
So it
see,
looks like the flag is waving, but when you have no atmosphere, it doesn't mean that things like aren't going to move at all. It just means that like when you touch them, they're going to keep moving until something stops them.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Okay.
It's like being in space almost.
Yeah,
like it's
yeah.
just going to have perpetual motion until it gets hit with another force.
Yeah, yeah.
And NASA knew this when they sent the astronauts to the moon. So there was a rod that extended horizontally on the flag to hold it up for the pictures and stuff.
Yeah,
or else it would just be like a drooping flag, and that would look sad and not triumphant at all.
Yeah.
Like we wanted it to look, we wanted
Yeah,
to
we
look
wanted to look very
patriotic.
Yeah, patriotic,
Yeah,
like-
exactly. We're annexing the moon over here.
Who owns the moon?
51st
America owns the moon. Strange little fact, because it was from the Diocese of Orlando that the shuttle went out. Any mission work of the Catholic Church is under the Diocese of Orlando to the moon.
Oh, that's cool.
Not that there's any reason to do mission work to the moon, but
Well,
it is now officially the biggest diocese because of that.
I didn't know that. Well, didn't the last pope say that he wanted to baptize the first alien, or like baptize the first extraterrestrial? Somebody wants to baptize
It was like, if there is aliens, they need to know the gospel and be baptized.
Which that would be interesting. I would like to watch that. If they're like the ones from Signs or whatever, then they're not going to want to be baptized because I think that those were allergic to water.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're like witches. They just burn underwater, right?
But during that time of like Vietnam, JFK, you could see how, because this is the Cold War era,
Yeah,
we're
yeah.
having the space race with the Soviets, and they beat us to like having the first
many
satellite.
things,
They beat
yeah.
us on a lot of firsts when it came to space. So you get JFK up there with that speech that he made. He like gets the whole American public behind going to the moon and funding going to the moon because we want to beat the Soviets to the moon. And we want the Soviets to throw every bit of money that they've got at trying to beat us to go to the moon. So wouldn't it make sense to fake going to the moon to get them to just like spend all of their time and energy
Just
on this?
spend all their money to get to the moon when
We haven't even tried. We haven't
we
done
did it in
it.
a Hollywood basement,
Exactly.
which is cheaper. It's like $10.
Yes. And all you need is a camera and some like, I don't know, some bungee cables and stuff like that.
Look at our spacesuits.
Yeah. But if you actually watch the footage of them being on the moon,
Yeah.
and there's smart people on the internet that have done like the calculations and stuff like that, and they're like, okay, well, what is the rate of gravity and like the mass of like the people and like how far they fall, like how fast they fall, and it's not just footage that's been slowed down, because that's one of the main arguments is that, oh well, they filmed this and then they just slowed the footage down to make it look like the gravity was less than it was. And another one of the dumb things that they say is that like the boot prints, they have a picture of like the boot prints from the moon.
Yeah,
and
I've
then
seen those. Yeah.
And then they look at the boots that the astronauts wore, and they're like, that boot doesn't match the boot that the astronauts wore. That's because they had to put coverings on their shoes when they were walking on this the regolith, like I was telling you about earlier.
because of the evil dust.
Yeah,
hell
because it
dust.
would be it would agitate and it would like penetrate their boots.
Yeah.
If they weren't wearing protection. And so it's just a bunch of little dumb things like that. There was this guy. Okay, I'm not gonna lie. for a little bit of time, I almost fell for the moon landing hoax thing.
I was wondering if it was convincing at all, because like right now you're just like, boom, wrong, boom, wrong, boom, wrong. Was there anything?
I'm giving you the dumb ones right now.
Okay.
I'll give you some good ones though, because right now it seems like who could possibly believe that the moon landing was faked? So there's this guy named Bart Sibrel, and Bart, exactly. Bart. How can you believe somebody named Bart in the first place? But he's like the spearhead of the modern moon landing was fake movement.
That's still a movement?
Yes. Okay. So in 2002, he accosted Buzz Aldrin about the moon landing being fake.
Yeah.
And he was like, Buzz Aldrin, you're a coward, and you need to answer to the American public about lying to them for all this time. And he had been doing this to Buzz Aldrin for a while, and Buzz is probably like in his 70s or so by now. He's kind of old. So Buzz turns around and punches him in the face, and it's like on camera and everything. He just like gives him the right hook. I don't think it knocked him out, but it was enough to like make him stop for a while. And they didn't press charges or anything against Buzz because they claimed that he acted in self-defense. So he just got like a free punch in the face on this guy named Bart. And I feel like I would want to punch Bart too, because I listened to him on Joe Rogan, and he like couldn't defend his arguments at all for why we didn't land on the moon. And every time he was trying to plug his website, he's like, go to bartsibrel.com to get the full story. And he wanted you to like buy his book or buy his documentary or whatever.
I hate when people want me to buy their book or something to get the full story. I'm just like,
me too.
You're supposed to be giving me the story right here.
Yes. I'll buy it if I want the details. Like if your story is good.
Yeah, but you can't just be like, if you want to know how this ends. You didn't catch me yet.
Right. He had one interesting argument, and this is where he almost got me. Is that he claims, I told you about this on the phone, that I wanted to talk about this. And this is when I was kind of like giving it a little bit of credibility.
Yeah.
He claims that one of the videos or pictures that the Apollo astronauts took on their way to the moon when they were looking back at Earth was faked. And he says that it was faked because, so they have the little porthole in the side of the space shuttle. And they were claim that they stuck the camera up against the window of the porthole to take a picture of the Earth, and the picture is kind of blurry because it's 1960s or whatever. You can't see the Earth that great because it's up against a window. First of all, like how good are photos when you have to put them against the window? They're not great normally. And he claims that this was fake and that they were really in low Earth orbit, and that to make the Earth look really small, that they turned off all the lights in the space shuttle and that they backed the camera up against the other wall. So then the black part of the space shuttle is space, and the little tiny bit of the Earth that you could see is the whole Earth because the porthole's round. So therefore it could pass as like appearing to be like the Earth. Since it's blurry, then no one can disprove it because it's not like, oh, well, I can only see like Canada and Saskatchewan. So like I know that you're lying about this photo.
Yeah.
But that was like his whole argument hinged on this one photo being fake. And
a lot to hinge an argument on.
I know. And I didn't read his book or anything, so I didn't want to give him any more attention.
You're like, I'm not falling for this.
No, I'm not falling for this because there's so many things that prove that the moon landing did happen, which is that they brought back like a quarter of a ton of moon rocks over the course of the Apollo missions.
What are they doing with those moon rocks?
They distributed them. It's like a bunch of like world.
You guys can have some of these moon rocks.
Yeah, exactly. They were like different scientists, places around the world got a little bit of moon rocks.
I thought they were evolving Pokemon, but I guess
it's good. The Moonstone.
Yeah, I was hoping they were evolving Pokemon.
Yeah, I want to evolve my Clefairy. I've been holding on to this Clefairy for years.
What Clefable? That's what
into Clefable, I think, is what it evolves into. So one of the main reasons that people claim that we never went to the moon is very convincing. It's called the Van Allen radiation belt.
Van Allen.
Have you heard of this before?
No.
It sounds like it's not Van Halen radiation belt, but it sounds.
I almost wore my Van Halen shirt today.
That's okay. Gaslight Anthem is good too.
Yeah.
So they say that the Van Allen radiation belt is this field of deadly radiation that surrounds the Earth, and that you wouldn't be able to send people out through it because they would get like vaporized or whatever, like whatever happens when you're exposed to radiation. Think about like Chernobyl and
laser protection around the Earth that you can't escape.
Right. And you would
giant prison.
Yes. and you would have to have so much like lead shielding or covering or whatever to protect you from this radiation. And for some reason, that's like the hook, line, and sinker of the conspiracy, is that this Van Allen radiation belt is impenetrable. But when you look at the research of it, it's like the belt is not an all-encompassing prison thing around the earth, like we're saying.
Yeah.
It was the shape of a donut, and it only goes in like a horizontal plane around the earth, sort of like the rings of another planet would.
Oh, interesting.
And so you could strategically plan your missions to go out
Avoid
the
it,
top
yeah,
of it
yeah.
or go out the bottom or spend as little time as possible. And not all radiation is the same. You know, you have like gamma radiation and
Do you know what I know gamma radiation from? The Hulk ride at Universal, and they keep on talking about the gamma radiation that makes the Hulk, and then you get thrown off. And what a fun ride that is! But yeah, you just get thrown by the Hulk. And
I love the Universal. Their rides are really imaginative.
now, can you imagine if we actually had a ring around the planet?
That would be cool.
That would be so cool.
I'm going to talk about rings in a little bit.
Oh, cool.
I got a thing about rings that'll blow your mind. But so, and it's not necessarily deadly either. It's like, you know how you would spend time, like how the people who went into Chernobyl, like the ones who were like right there at the epicenter when it happened, like those people died, but other people could spend more time in there, and it just depends on your exposure. Even if you had to be in the Van Allen radiation belt, if your time was minimized, then you were going to be able to pass through it and be okay if you weren't just like dwelling in it for days and hours. And most of the time, since it doesn't extend that far out into space, that the astronauts that did end up going through it, which happens sometimes, they were okay. Because they weren't just like locked in it for a long extended period of time.
It was just like a quick moment, like getting an X-ray.
Yeah, X-ray is another good time, another type of radiation.
Yeah,
and I think that materials as thin as like aluminum and stuff were enough to be able to block it, or to at least like deflect it and minimize its effects.
So you could just like wear aluminum hats like they did in science.
Exactly.
Yeah. You ready for another beer?
I think I'm ready for another beer. Yeah, so the Van Allen radiation belt sounds intimidating and official, and like it's going to be like a keystone to preventing us from going to the moon, but it turns out that once you look at the research of it, that it doesn't really hold up that much.
Yeah, I mean, if somebody said that to me, I don't know if I would have known enough to even be like, yes, that belt, it's getting in the way. That's like, what's that belt? Orion's belt. I wish I knew what Orion's belt was for. All I know, I know it exists in the sky, and I've seen it.
Wait, Orion's belt's just part of the Orion constellation.
Yeah.
Yeah, it just means that the three little stars that go across his waist.
But like, was it important for any reason? And then they made it a big deal in Men in Black.
Because they came from one of those planets?
I don't remember. It's been a while since I watched Men in Black.
There was a thing that
Will Smith was great in that, by the way, guys.
Oh, yes. He was great in that Academy Awards, too.
Yeah, see, that's this nice foam on there. Hope it doesn't get too full. Oh, God. I filled it a bit. Anyways.
So going back to the Red Hot Chili Peppers saying that it was filmed in a Hollywood basement, the main way that they think that it was filmed is that they got director Stanley Kubrick to direct the fake moon landing footage. And I feel like in the early 2000s or late 90s or whatever, there was a leaked video that looked like it was Stanley Kubrick admitting to doing this.
Oh, I remember that. I remember that video. It came out when we were
we were younger.
Young.
It was fake though. Like that was like a documentary, a mockumentary or something. It wasn't real. It wasn't really Stanley Kubrick. And no matter how good he is at directing, and he's awesome at directing, he's one of those ones that like everything he touches turns to gold. But like he didn't have a flop. I feel like he was just banger after banger.
Yeah, he would have had a little bit more. I think people would have watched it for like the entertainment if he actually did it. Like, oh, this is very entertaining.
Oh yeah, definitely. But even he wouldn't be able to fake the moon landing because of like the physics and the special effects at the time were not nearly as advanced as it would take to be able to fake the moon landing. Another like thing that they talk about that proves that it was fake is that when you look at the footage and the pictures of them on the moon, that there's no stars in the sky. Oh, yeah. Have you noticed this before?
Yeah.
But if you're taking a picture like what's essentially daylight, you know what I mean, on the moon, then is there stars in the sky on Earth when there's daylight?
Yeah.
No, because the brightest thing is the sun, and that's overpowering it, and you're not going to be able to see things that only emit a little bit of light in the sky.
Yeah, the sun's always overpowering everything.
Excuse me. So even though it's dark, it appears to be dark on the moon because of the lack of atmosphere, but there's not going to be stars in the sky if
it's daytime.
Right, if it's the daytime, exactly. So there's another easy thing to debunk.
So is a moon day then as long as the 28 or 29 days that it goes around the Earth?
Yes. Good point. Yeah. That is a good observation. And I don't think I ever realized that before until I researched this. But yes, it takes about 29 days for a day to occur on the moon. Yeah.
What an interesting thing.
Mm-hmm. And
I get really, like when I start thinking about like eclipses and stuff, my mind's like, okay, this is what's happening. But comprehending it, sometimes I get a little lost on what's happening.
Yes.
I'm like, oh gosh.
Yeah.
I know what's happening, but then I'm also like, how is this happening?
It's really interesting the way that eclipses happen, but I've only got a couple more things about the fake moon landing that happened. So you can see it happening since we're having the space race with the Soviets, but it's not that we only went. The people think we only went to the moon one time. We went to the moon 6 times. So even if like
I didn't know that.
Yeah, exactly. Because we had the Apollo series of missions. It wasn't just Apollo 11 that went to the moon. We had a whole bunch of other ones that did too. So throw out the Van Allen radiation belt, throw out the boot print. Stanley Kubrick didn't direct it. Okay, there was this one video where a NASA scientist talks about how we don't have the technology to go to the moon. And a bunch of people took this quote out of context and were like using this as proof. It's like, oh, see, there's NASA admitting that we can't go to the moon. But really what he meant was that we don't have like the supply chains in place to build the
station
rocket.
On the moon, yeah. Well, because the idea is that they build a rocket from there, right? And that makes it easier to space travel because they don't have to push out of Earth's atmosphere.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Yeah. But like to even get to the moon, the way that we did it then in like the 60s is that every bit of the lunar module and the space shuttle and the rockets were handmade. Like people were making these things by hand. They were really skilled workers that knew how to do their craft. Yeah. And now with like the rise of like automation and machines and stuff like that, we don't have those skilled workers to be able to do the same things that they did in the 60s because no one's learning those things because it's not useful.
Yeah.
So if we tried to build the exact same like lunar module and stuff like that now, it would have to be an entirely new design. And
when's the last time we went to the moon?
We haven't been to the moon since 73, I think.
Okay, so we were like, we're 71 for half a decade, and then we're like, we're done.
71 was the last time that we went to the moon. So
you would think that they would go to the moon more often.
China has been sending like probes and stuff, and so has India. I want to say
I didn't know India had probes.
Yeah, when you think of India, you don't really think of space exploration as being one of their like main ambitions. Maybe more like cleaning up the rivers and stuff like that and making more room for people to live. Maybe that's why they're going to the moon, though, you know.
You could create a lot of room.
You could. Okay, so an interesting aspect of the moon landing being faked is that they might fake it in advance in case something bad happened to the astronauts. Because, you know, we had that Apollo 1 mission where the space shuttle blew up on the launch pad and killed the 3 astronauts on it.
Yeah.
So you might not want to like televise that all across the world and have a giant failure when we think that everyone thinks we're going to go land on the moon, including the Soviets and stuff.
So like they faked it to
save face, basically, in case something bad happened.
But then it happened and it was fine.
Right, exactly. Or since talking about the radiation thing, what if like the film was overexposed and like got completely ruined on the way to the moon or the way back from the moon?
I did think about that. Yeah, I did think about that. Like,
might had to fake it to like make it look like we.
How does technology work on the moon?
Right, exactly.
Does my iPhone work on the moon?
It probably doesn't get that good service, but that would be a good commercial.
Verizon, you know, the Verizon.
Can you hear me now? Yeah. So if you look at the press conference, if you've ever, I hadn't seen this until I did this research, but Buzz Aldrin and Neil Armstrong and Michael Collins was the third guy. He didn't go to the moon. He remained in orbit while they were on the moon. But if you look at the press conference, if you watch it of them answering questions after they got back to Earth, they do not look like 3 people who had just done something for the first time in mankind's history. They look like dejected and kind of apprehensive and like a little bit like scared.
What do you think they saw there?
That's a good question. And I have some theories, but first I want to hear about the Aztecs.
Yeah. So I know that there's some rumor of a time before the moon.
Okay.
Like I've heard that there's a conspiracy of a time before the moon, and that isn't completely a modern conspiracy.
Right. Like the moon wasn't always there.
Yeah, there's in fact legends that do apply themselves to this.
Okay, so it's got some weight to it. It's not just some crazy conspiracy theory.
I mean, well, it depends on how much you want to hold on to this, but like,
I like the idea. I think it's cool because you think about the chaos that we talked about earlier, like the moon or the earth wouldn't be able to stay in its tilt like it is.
The Aztec stories are full of chaos.
Always the Aztecs.
But one of the things I had somebody point out that like, hey, do you know what you guys said on your podcast wasn't true? And I was just like,
oh God.
I'm like, well, sometimes we edit things on the screen. So if you guys ever just watch it, you will see those edits. But also, these are legends who come from the mouth of people. All of our information comes from somebody.
Yes.
But there is often with these older stories, there's a lot of disagreement. There's not one uniformed, like King James Bible for it, right? Like,
right. They didn't all get together and come together as a consensus. Like that's why it's called a legend. You're getting the different aspects of it.
And also this happens with conspiracies. There's a lot of say so and this person said. And most of our information, me and Matthew aren't computers that just like soak up every information. We get our information from people. So if we're wrong, we will write it on the screen if we know it.
And we're regurgitating it to you too. So like,
and also we've been drinking.
Yeah, we make mistakes. I've probably said several wrong things already.
But this is one of those Aztec stories. There's many of them, but one of them starts with the age of the fifth moon. But we have to get to the fifth moon first, or fifth sun. Sorry, not moon. The moon wasn't created until the fifth age. So,
oh wow, what happened in ages 1 through 4?
Yep, there we go. So I'm gonna murder these names. And I'm going to give them probably different names.
Go for it. I like our alternative names.
So, Amatio. Amatio.
Okay.
Was
the first age?
Yeah, first age. Okay. This is before the first age. It was like the Almighty God.
First age.
It was like, and it was actually a god made up of two gods. So I don't know if that's like rather than a trinity, it's a duality.
Maybe so.
But it was male and female.
It's a hermaphrodite.
Yeah, of some sort. And that god had 4 children initially. Now there's a lot of gods in the Aztec world.
Do they birth them themselves?
I guess if it's true, like a worm.
Okay. Or like the Greek gods did that sometime.
Oh yeah.
Or like the pre-Greek gods, or whatever you call
it. I think that Jupiter or Zeus, he did that with Athena.
Yep, makes sense.
So they had 4 children. I could say their Aztec names. Cipi Totec, which means filleted god. This was a patron of seasons.
Patron of seasoning.
Yeah.
There we
go. Tezcatlipoca, meaning smoking mirror. That's the god of earth, which I'll use smoking mirror.
That sounds good.
Yeah. And then there was another one,
Quetzalcoatl.
Yep.
There we go.
You know that one. That's the plumbed serpent.
Yes. The feathered serpent is what I know.
Yep. Feathered serpent. That's god of air. And then there's one that I'm really Huitzilopochtli.
Don't know this one.
That's the hummingbird of the south, god of war.
Oh, I'm scared of that hummingbird. Watch out, guys.
These gods existed in the 13th heaven. Smoking mirror. I'm going to use their fun American names.
13th heaven.
Yeah, 13th. I don't even know.
My goodness, it's just like layers on layers here.
Yeah, they're way up.
It goes deep in the Aztec realms. It sounds like.
Yeah. Well, smoking mirror was the most powerful. The 4 children got together and they're like, what would be really badass? Let's create the world.
Oh, of course.
They're like, yeah, we need to create
some playthings. Let's make humans.
We need something to do. And so like we need to create the world and some humans.
We're like their Barbie dolls and Kens is what it seems like sometimes.
Yeah. That's something that happens with like old pagan religions often. But they always were fighting with each other. Who's going to be the Lord of them all? Who's going to command them? So when I was younger, I used to play games with my brother and I'd just tell him what to do. So I really get this. It was so mean of me.
How old is he? Or how much younger is he?
He was like just a year and a half younger than me.
Oh, okay.
But like that was like when he rebelled against me, that's where we fight. When we were children, we hardly ever fought though. So, but I get this. They're like, I want to be, and the person who was the sun god was the one that led everyone, right? So they got together, and the first sun was created, but none of them were the sun. They just created a sun, but it wasn't really that hot.
First sun, okay.
Yeah, they created a race of farmers, and all the men were farmers, and all the women were weavers.
There we go.
They had magic corn.
Magic corn. Wow.
Yeah, it would heal disease and stuff.
I want some magic corn.
Right. They also created time because it was always they needed seasons and stuff. They created an underworld, and then they needed a place for people to live, so they created a giant fish, and the body is what people live on.
I appreciate their imagination when it comes to these things.
They were great.
Let's make time. I've never thought of anything like this before, but we're going to make the whole new thing. Yep.
But they looked at their sun and they were like, that thing's unsatisfying. It's not bright enough. It's not big enough. It's not very warm. None of our magic corn is growing. Our fish is getting sleepy because
it's like cold. When you try your first time at something, you're not that great at it. So like making the first sun kind of didn't go so well.
Yeah, they were like, this isn't
good I could do better than that. Yeah.
One of the things I always hated about cartoons, like you remember like Roadrunner and Coyote?
Oh, yeah.
Is Coyote would just mess up a little bit. And he would never just tweak it. He would try a whole new idea next. And I'm like, dude, if you just tweaked your idea a little bit, you can get
exactly.
it.
You don't have to go back to the drawing board.
Yeah, you did pretty good. There was just one thing that got away. Just fix that.
Dude, you know what I'm a sucker for? Is the backgrounds of Looney Tunes.
Oh, yeah, they're great backgrounds.
The backgrounds in those like Roadrunner Coyote things, I could just look at those all day.
They're great.
Yeah, I wish I could get some posters of some backgrounds of some Looney Tunes.
Do you guys want that right there? Right there
somewhere there before we get our
before we get Matt back.
Yep, exactly.
Anyways, so it was up to they're like, this sun's unsatisfying. One of us have to be the sun. And
really?
Yeah.
We need a volunteer.
One of the siblings gave himself up as a son, and he was like, This is the first stage of the world. So this is the world's first sun. He created a race.
So the pre-sun wasn't even the first sun.
Yeah. That
this
doesn't
is
count.
the first.
This is the first sun. That was like a successful bonfire.
Okay.
And he created a race of giants.
There we go. Back to giants.
That ate pine nuts, particularly.
I remember that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I remember if you guys haven't watched our Paul Bunyan episode,
it's a good one.
You'll come back to this. You'll hear this. But so that was the most badass of them all. Smoking Mirror that was the first sun. Well, our little serpent, our
Quetzalcoatl.
Yeah, Quetzalcoatl. He was like, I'm kind of pissed about this. I want to be the sun. So after
we were asking for volunteers and no one wanted to volunteer.
Yeah. So after 676 years, he takes his own the club of his brother and knocks him down into the ocean.
Is he okay?
Yeah, he's a god.
Okay,
I guess. I don't know.
They do like to like kill each other and stuff, or like imprison each other.
Oh, it gets bad. So he becomes the second son and reigns for 676 years.
It's a pretty long time.
While smoking Mirror, he becomes a jaguar and roams the earth and hunts all the giants and kills them.
Okay.
I don't know why he does that. But he does
pass the time.
Yeah, he's like, I'm bored. I'm going to eat my children.
So are there humans at the same time or just giants now? I feel like it's probably just giants.
It's just giants right now. There are now, after this, it gets changed because
the giants were too big.
Yeah, the giants were just...
They're eating all the magic corn.
They were no good. Yeah. They were eating all the magic corn. So again, this is another 676 years, and the next era is the god of wind, which I didn't even write the name down. That one was too complicated. But he created a human type of creature that also liked pine nuts.
Okay.
All these creatures like pine nuts. But they got blown away and turned into monkeys.
Is pine nuts what you put in pesto?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think that's my only experience with pine nuts.
I can buy pine nuts.
I can't imagine subsisting only on pine nuts. I mean, I'm allergic to peanuts, so would I be allergic to pine nuts too?
No, they're very different. Pine nuts are from trees, and
peanuts are like a legume.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'll give pine nuts a try.
I didn't know you were allergic to peanuts. That's such a sad thing. You can never have peanut sauce.
It doesn't kill me. It just like constricts my breathing a little bit. not enough for me to die, but enough for me to be annoyingly congested for like the foreseeable future for a while. Yeah.
So this group of humans that were eating pine nuts were turned into monkeys or blown away off of the planet. And then the rain god took over. The rain god was like, you know what? I'm pissed about this. I'm going to be the new sun. And so he becomes the next sun for 364 days.
Oh, that's not very long.
Years.
Still not as long as the other guys.
No, the other guys lasted way longer. But our feathered serpent gets in the way again. Yeah. Gets in the way again. He throws down fire and turns the people into birds.
He's like the foil or the heel in wrestling.
Yeah,
And I don't even
always.
like wrestling, but like he's like that guy that comes in and ruins the plans of the other guy.
Well, historically, he's a god of truth, or he reveals secrets, and so maybe he knew they were up to something and was like putting him in their place.
Like the underdog then. Yeah.
I feel like
He's misunderstood.
yeah. Well, then a woman takes place. A goddess. Sorry,
Finally.
a goddess. So she's gonna get
Yes.
this right.
Equality.
She is literally, her name is translated Jade Skirt Woman. I'm like, you guys could have like.
Come up with something else.
But she wasn't one of the 4 original goddesses. She was a later goddess. And she was a goddess of rivers. She was badass.
Water again.
Yeah, water. She reigned for 312 years, but there was so much rain that there was a
Fourth
great
moon?
flood. Yeah.
Fourth moon. Okay.
There was so much rain that a great flood happened, which
Ooh,
this great
the
flood,
great flood?
Yeah, the great flood. It put the sun out,
Wow.
and it turned all the people into a fish, or into fish.
Kind of confused about how that worked.
Yeah, so you have monkeys, you have birds, and you have fish because of the gods.
Are we still eating pine nuts?
Maybe.
I'm not sure. We're eating sea berries.
But the gods after this get together and they're like, you know what?
We should just get along.
Exactly. That's exactly what they say. They're like, our not getting along, it keeps on killing our planet. So like, we got to do something different.
Which was just a game to them anyway.
Yeah, we're addicted to the drama. You see,
Yeah.
we're addicted to the drama. We got to do something.
We're ruining
different.
our game. We got to get along, or we're never going to get past the first level.
and so the 4 old gods, the
OG
children,
ones,
yeah, they become trees and lift the sky up again from the.
There we go.
Yeah, they're like, we need to lift
Because
the
it's
sky.
wet.
Yeah, everything's wet.
Okay,
Everything's wet, so they have to lift it all up. And they say, we're going to create a new sun.
I haven't tried that
Because
before.
there is no sun and there's no people. So they're like, new plan. We're going to create a new sun. But this sun won't be one of us. Rather, it will be a sun that suffices on sacrifice. It will survive on the blood. It'll drink blood and eat hearts.
I thought you were going to say they were going to make the electoral college and they were going to like get everybody to vote and then
We'll have
represent
a right
us.
to vote and Parliament will come together.
But no, it sounds a lot more violent than that.
No. They're like, this sun will survive on sacrifice.
Yeah, violent,
Yeah, extremely violent.
bloodthirsty.
Oh, so
yes.
bloodthirsty. Because all the suns before that didn't need anything. But this sun was
Sacrifices.
like, I need hearts and I need blood.
Okay,
It drinks blood, eats hearts.
that's why they made the humans
Yeah.
smaller.
So originally they
More
made they're like, there's no sacrifice, there's no sun, so we need to make sacrifice. So they made 400 humans and we're like, we can sacrifice these guys.
Just 400.
Yeah, they made 400. But a god, and this is kind of an interesting, a god named, I'm going to murder this one against Nahatazin.
Nahatazin.
He was a very sickly and diseased god, which is very weird for an image for a god. We don't
Yeah.
have that image of a god. These gods,
It's that inbreeding, dude.
Yeah.
I'm telling you.
the inbreeding of the gods.
Yeah,
He offered himself to become the new sun. He's
that was his best bet. Really, it came down to
he
it.
was a sickly god. He's
Yeah.
like, they literally looked at him, the council of gods, and they're like,
I don't know. About
hey, buddy,
this.
you're not, you
Cut out to be the sun.
you're not gonna have enough
You
courage.
can be the moon. There
No.
is that what they're gonna say?
no,
man.
So there's no moon yet. There's no
Okay.
such thing as a moon yet.
I thought this was where the moon came from.
So, and what they did is they had these big sacrificial fires made with flint, and whoever jumped in them would become the god. And he was like, I'll do it. And then
Oh.
they all looked at him and were like,
You can't even
you
jump.
Can't do that. you can't even jump.
You're gonna wheel your wheelchair over there.
So another god came to arise, who was very wealthy, very good looking, sharp, had nice eyebrows.
Oh, good.
All the above, right?
Always his
And
eyebrows.
his name was Tekutsekati.
Tekutsukade. I don't know.
Yeah, that sounds way better than what I would do.
I was just going off of what you said.
So yeah, he was very wealthy and he's like, you know what? I'm charming. I'm great. I'll do this.
I'm the best god.
I'm the best and strongest god. So he's like, I'll do it, right? And they're like, yeah, that does sound about right. And so they both of them do a great period of fasting and purification.
Okay.
Even though the other guy wasn't even chosen, Nelly boy.
It's more symbolic.
Yeah,
or,
yeah. And so we have Takatsa.
It's a formality. That's the word I was looking for.
Yeah, he's like, okay, I'm going to the fire, and he came all dressed up with an offering of gold, jade, and feathers. Like, he's ready. and then he looks at the fire and he almost jumps in, and he's like, ugh. You ever get that moment where you're just like, you can't jump?
He hesitates.
His
Second thoughts about jumping into a fire. Imagine that.
And so he can't do it. He's just like, he keeps on trying, and he just cannot get past the fact that he's going to catch on fire. So he's like, no way, not doing this. Oh, he's just kind of like, he even feels cowardly. Like, I can't do this. I can't murder myself.
Imagine the gods feeling cowardly.
Yeah. So what happens is behind him, we get Nahaka Tatsun. We're gonna call him Nelly. We got Nelly.
I got Nelly.
We got Nelly.
That's not the one.
The sickly god.
Oh, okay.
The sickly god, and he brings an offering of
don't forget me
reeds and leaves of cactus or cactus leaves. And
what
he's
is
like,
this?
Yeah, and he's like dressed in very simple clothing, paper. It says he was dressed in paper, and he walks up to the fire, looks at it.
Flammable,
just jumps in.
Paper and reeds. No wonder it's
just
all going to catch on fire.
Yeah, he just jumps in.
I was wondering what his decision or his process was behind that.
Yeah, he had been fasting.
Yeah, exactly.
He was ready to be.
If this was today, he would bring just like a can of gasoline or something like that.
Yeah,
and then he'd combust.
And the other god looks at him after being cowardly and was just like, "What have I done?"
Wow.
So he jumps in too.
So we got two going, or there was only supposed to be one.
Yeah, and then a jaguar and an eagle are watching, and they're inspired by the courage and jump in also.
Wow. Okay, so what happens to all of them? They got this
when they come out,
concoction going on.
Yeah, they got this weird thing happen. So the first thing that happens, they say this is the reason jaguars are black spotted, because they jumped into the burning coals, and this is why the eagles have black tips.
Okay.
These are also considered sacred animals in the Aztec culture. They have the order of the jaguar and the order of the eagle.
I knew jaguars.
Yeah. This is where they're most badass warriors.
Okay.
Yeah. So the jaguar and the eagle dive in
after the two gods.
After the two gods, and again that becomes that kind of the noble animals, and of course the jaguar and the eagle are both sacred in Aztec culture. Right?
They deserve it, I think.
Yeah, they're cool.
Yeah,
they're
exactly.
Cool. Yeah, right. But from the eastern end, a god arises.
Oh, really?
This originally was our Nelly boy, Nahustatinzin. I wish I was better with language. I'm an English teacher. I'm good at English. That's it. I wish I was better at others.
I can put the spellings on the screen.
Yeah. We'll put the spelling on the screen.
Yeah.
We'll send him all this. Anyways, he appears in the east as the brightest sun that has ever appeared. In fact, this transformed his sickly body into the most mighty body he's ever had.
Wow, he had a glow up.
Yeah, he had a glow up, exactly. He was a nerd back in the day. Now he's a badass. We like him.
What's wrong with the nerds?
Yeah. His new name is Olin Tonatuha.
Oh, he just needed a new name.
Yeah, he needed a new name. I mean, we do that. I could get a mohawk like they did in Cobra Kai. I remember when I got a mohawk, and it changed me.
Did you have a new name?
Yeah.
Like Cool Jesse.
Yeah, Cool Jesse.
Jesse's got a mohawk now.
Yeah. Or like when you grow out your hair, you're like,
how much stuff did you have to put in your hair when you did the mohawk?
Like way too much. Just like I got to be glued.
Oh yeah.
Put it up, and I would blow dry it as I pulled it up.
I
so
see.
it fanned out like it looked like a Trojan helmet.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was really tall.
Yeah, I saw it. Yeah, it looked awesome.
Maybe I'll put a picture. Maybe I'll send him a picture. You can put it right there. You can see my 16-year-old self.
That was when you were 16?
Yeah, 15 or 16. It was a long time ago. Anyways, but because two of them jumped in the fire, another sun appears.
Oh,
well, this isn't great.
It's like Tatooine.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, exactly. Two suns rise on each horizon, and it is so bright no one can see.
And it's probably hot too.
It's so hot.
Yeah,
like it's boiling all the water. It's like everything you touch is
can't ruin our ecosystem with two suns. We're not made for this. That's why Tatooine's like a desert, because like the two suns.
Too much.
Mm-hmm.
Two suns too much.
I know.
You can't live like
this.
That.
Is why they say a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away.
Oh yeah, wow.
It could have been this place.
Yeah, this is it.
Yep.
So what happened is one of the gods, an ominous god, was like, oh shit, this is bad. And he grabs a rabbit and throws it up there. He just throws a rabbit at the sun.
What is that going to do?
The rabbit hits the sun so hard that not Nelly Boy, but the other one, the great warrior, the rich one, gets hit by the rabbit.
Not the disabled one.
Yeah, not the disabled one who turned into like a glow up, but the other one who was great in the beginning got hit with the rabbit and he dims.
Oh wow.
And then there's a rabbit imprint on him.
Hate to see it.
Yeah, and so he got a scar. A rabbit scar.
Rabbit scar.
And this is where they say that the rabbit on the moon comes from. So he turns into the moon. And they have different courses because they go different ways at that time. So the sun goes its own way and the moon goes its own way. But no, not originally. Sorry. The moon becomes a moon. But the sun, our Nelly boy, our transformed Nelly boy,
he stays the sun.
dude, he becomes a dick.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah.
That's disappointing.
He's like, I've grown up. I'm great. And he tells the other gods, because his name literally means movement of the sun.
And he was going to be the good guy in the story.
No, he's like, guess what?
Wow.
I'm not moving, and it starts burning and scorching that part of the earth because he's never moving.
What a wasted opportunity
And so
for everyone to love him.
What he demands, he says, if you guys want me to move, you each have to sacrifice your heart to me.
That's a tall order.
So all the gods he's requiring of all the gods to sacrifice their hearts to him.
Well, does that kill a god?
I don't know.
It kind of sounds like
It sounds
would.
like it kills them. It
Right.
sounds like it kills them because they have kids and I don't know. It seems like they die. Well, anyways, they're like, oh man, we hate this idea.
Of course, naturally.
It's a super bad idea. I don't love this. I don't love that I have to die. So the god of the dawn, the Lord of Dawn, says, you know what? I'll stop him. And he slings like a dart at him.
How is there a Lord of the Dawn before the
there's tons of gods by this time.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't.
Everyone just gets to be there on whatever. What's not taken. It's like picking a username.
Lord of Dawn. Fifth age of the sun.
When you were talking about the rabbit imprinting on the moon because it got thrown so hard, I remember the story that this kid told in the fourth grade. Is that he said that when he misbehaved at home, that his dad would take the belt and like whip him with it, you know, like as our dads do, but it wasn't just a normal belt. It was like a Noah's Ark themed belt. So it had all the animals were like around the belt. Ooh. So then when he got whipped, he would be like elephant, hippopotamus, giraffe, like prints on his skin. Because they were like the studs on the belt were made out of the animals from the ark. And I'm like, oh, the rabbit on the moon. That's so funny.
Yeah, oof.
And that was like 25 years ago, and I never forgot that.
Yeah. That's weird.
The Noah's Ark belt. I need to find a Noah's Ark belt on eBay somewhere and like get it. Use it on my son.
That's ridiculous.
That's funny.
So yeah, he is he's like, I'm not moving. Lord of Dawn is like, you know what? A dart. I'm going to throw it at you. And he misses. And
wow.
And our Nelly boy throws a dart back and knocks him cold to the ground.
That's good.
And he's knocked out. He's like, okay, he gets up but he becomes the god of the cold and of like more, you know how like right when it before the sun comes up, it gets cold. That was to explain that coldness. It's because he got knocked out right there before the dawn.
I think he needs his god card revoked. He's like not a very good god.
No, not super great. So since that didn't work, all the gods were like, all right. They opened their chests up. He ate their hearts. All of them were wrapped into like almost like turned into parts of the earth.
Wow.
He ate them. And then he started moving around the world. And now him and the sun or him and the moon still move around the world. We're apparently in this fifth age.
So we're still in this age that has happened.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now, so this is an interesting story because this is one of the few stories where the moon is actually a masculine spirit. Most of the time,
usually
the moon
it's the feminine spirit.
It's a feminine spirit.
Yeah.
In fact, the Aztecs do have an alternative story where there's a moon goddess. And God, I can't even pretend to say her name. Coiloaxaque.
Okay.
We're gonna call her Courtney.
Yeah, let's go with that.
Courtney means the dismembered moon.
Okay.
Yeah. So in the other story goes in this, in time long ago.
The dismembered moon.
The hills of Cotecapec, or the hill of the serpent, lived a goddess, and she was the mother of all gods. But her body was covered with snakes.
Wait, are we forgetting all the lore that just happened with the moon?
Yeah, this is a whole different.
Are we up to the fourth age and this is the fifth age?
No. We hit the fifth age, and this is another beginning. Another beginning
So
story.
I forget all of that.
Yeah, well, maybe don't forget it. Maybe this is just another.
It has some of the same characters, maybe.
Yeah. Well, no, not really. Some maybe.
Okay.
It's really about this goddess. She is her body. She is the goddess of.
What am I doing?
Nice, good job.
Wait, is she like going to be like the only character?
No. She has 400 children.
Okay, so it's not an I Am Legend.
Yeah. It's not like I Am Legend. So she.
What do you think about the beer? We haven't talked about it in a while.
Yeah.
So we're a couple of drinks in now.
The beer is effective.
I think that is very effective, and I like it. I still am a big fan of it. Like, you know how sometimes you get tired of drinking something because it gets that taste in your mouth and you can't get
I wonder. I even wondered. I was thinking, do I need to grab something else just in case? We're thinking about adding legendary shots, but
which we will do in the future.
Yeah. Matthew wasn't able to drink for a little while, and so we didn't know how he would take this.
No, because my stomach issues that I was having, I wasn't. This is the first time that I've drank this much since last episode.
I hope you're feeling okay.
Oh, I'm feeling as expected.
So in this other story, this goddess on the Hill of the Serpents, she wears like literally, her body's literally covered in snakes, and her skirt is filled with hearts and skulls.
Wow.
So she's the same kind of goddess that we got from like.
She's cut from the same cloth.
Yeah, so definitely cut from the same cloth. She is the Earth Mother, giver of life, but she also is the one who devours everything after it is born.
Why are these gods always like this? They're always like vicious, bloodthirsty, cutthroat.
Well, I think a lot of it comes from the Aztec culture. The Aztec
betraying
culture
each other.
Was vicious, cutthroat. They were the Vikings of North America.
That's a good way of putting it.
And so their gods, of course, reflect their values, and a lot of their values are like, can you take over? Do you have more power than that god before you?
I see that.
And so it's replicated here.
And you wanted those values in your people because that would help you continue the
you
line.
Want someone who's going to be a complete badass and rip others apart to get their way, because those are going to be your best leaders in this world where it's a cutthroat world.
And your other choice is that you get killed or enslaved.
And so
basically.
even their most feminine goddess is like that. The goddess who is the goddess of life is
you
also
wouldn't
the
expect
one
that from the feminine goddess normally, archetypal wise.
Yeah, archetypally.
Yeah.
But well, I mean,
but here we do.
But here we are.
Yeah.
And so she actually was cleaning her temple one day. I don't know why she was cleaning her own temple, but she was. And a ball of feathers fell on her. And she tucked it into her bosom, kind of thing, right? Like people with
how often does a ball of feathers fall?
Exactly. And
it doesn't.
So without human contact, from that moment, she became pregnant.
Immaculate conception.
Not immaculate conception. Yes, no. The writer originally of that said immaculate conception. I was like, that's not what immaculate conception means. It's not a virgin birth. Immaculate conception means born without sin. But yeah,
and I didn't know that before this episode. Jesse, he learned me that. I'm just kidding. He taught me that.
I damn learned that. And so after she became pregnant, she had 400 children. They were the stars of the South.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, stars of the South.
Okay.
I don't know south of what, but
well, if we're doing stars, then it's not that many.
Yeah. And her eldest daughter, who we're gonna call Courtney because I can't pronounce her name.
I thought the last one was Courtney.
No, that's who her daughter is. That Courtney.
Previously.
Yeah. That's the dismembered moon, right?
Yeah.
So we already know what's happening in Courtney.
Mm-hmm.
I really wish I could say her name. We're gonna put it up, but I don't know what it is. I don't know how to say that.
They just had different sounds back then. Yeah.
Her daughter, Courtney, took command, and she organized all the brothers and went to the hill to kill her for being pregnant.
Her mom.
And
she's like, Mom, you're too old to have 400 kids. I got to put a stop to this.
You have somehow. 400 kids. And she was mad that she was having one without having a relationship. She was like, this one.
Who's going to support these?
Yeah, who's going to support this
one? Mouths to feed.
So she's like, we
can't afford 400 midwives.
Yeah, so
wet
401 is too much.
Yeah, exactly.
So this one, she's like, okay, I'm going to kill it. And right when she gets there to kill it, this goddess gives birth. And the birth is a violent, miraculous one to a god of war and a son. He is a son of sorts. this god becomes a sun.
A sun with a U.
Yeah. With a U. So like this isn't in
becomes
the
a
age
sun. I'm like, okay.
Yeah. This is in the age of one, I guess, a sun. I don't know. And it immediately came out ready for and prepared for battle.
Always.
And it as an adult, already armed, with a fiery serpent as a spear and a feathered shield.
There we go.
So
more serpents and feathers.
I think it's the same god, but with a different name.
Quetzalcoatl.
Yeah, I think it's the same god, but with a different name. At birth, he shouted loudly and went into battle. One by one, he defeated the 400 brothers and sisters. He beheaded and dismembered Courtney, throwing her body to the hillside.
So she's the 400th. He's the one. So it would be 399 plus Courtney. That's the 400.
And then he's the 401.
And then they're all dead.
Yeah, they're all dead. So
And he becomes what?
Well, since he throws her on a hill and her body appears in parts, never completed because she was cut
Dismembered.
to pieces. Yeah, dismembered.
Okay, yeah.
And so the different parts of the moon, like the different spots on it, those are allegedly her different parts of her body.
Okay.
And he chases her around because he's the sun. He chases her around the earth, and that's why it's night and day.
Okay, I like that.
So that one's like a very.
That's how they're always moving.
That's why they're always moving, and he's always chasing her and reminding her, "You didn't win. You couldn't win.
You
against
lost.
me.
Oh man,
You
that's
couldn't
so
win against me."
annoying.
Yeah, like he just doesn't stop.
You think he'd get tired of that after a while?
Yeah, it's like
Like,
why
he has
would you?
better things to do?
But he's like, nope, I'm going to do this forever. So the moon, of course, in this story, does at least in the general goddess sense, does represent that feminine, that cyclical nature. The moon always represents that cyclical nature of and that is associated with, I mean, even the ladies' time of month, right?
Right, exactly.
So that kind of thing goes.
Because you've got the sun like doing its thing for the night and day, and you've got to have something else to signify the months
to match it.
right?
Match it.
So that's what the moon does.
So the Aztec story I found very like
Complicated. Wow.
Well, and it's not like one story, it's multiple stories. And I don't know if these guys or this group in Mesoamerica had this. They don't even seem like they have the same theology. It's not like the Fifth Age or anything.
Right. It's the one that had the alternative story with Courtney.
Yeah. That one seems completely different.
So it probably developed parallel alongside the other one somewhere else.
Yeah. And then it found itself like where, and that's just the thing. You can't get like one story from these.
Right. It reminds me of like the history is written by the victors. And I know I say that a lot of the time, but it's like, okay, well, is this the prevailing story from the people who conquered all the other peoples in the region before we became the Aztecs? Or were we like this homogenous group that grew?
That's part of my thinking is the Aztecs were known for conquering. And so I think the one that we read,
The first one
was Aztec. This one was just like Mexican.
Something else who developed. So
I think that one was the one overtaken, and they're like, yeah, this is the Fifth Age. Here's our sun and moon.
Okay, because that one was not as complicated as the Fifth Age one that we talked about.
No, this one was straightforward, very, very simple. But it's like the moon is a dismembered woman who has to run and always be reminded. It's really dark if you think about it, because it's just being reminded that there was a sun that overtook her and killed her or dismembered her, and she always had to be reminded of that.
That sounds very torturous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, she was known for protecting women. She was known as a goddess of the night. She was noted for childbirth and fertility.
These are good things to be
so
known as,
like she was still part of like
she had just as important of a role. It sounded like
just she always was reminded of her fault also.
Which sucks.
Yeah. Like everyone needs to go to counseling. All the Aztec gods need to go to counseling.
I hope that they had a good counselor, and that they accepted
need
insurance.
an Athena, god of wisdom.
Yeah,
I do want to go into some of like the medieval and then like later considerations of what happens, because that Aztec culture does kind of continue into later Catholic culture. But did you have something before that? Before I go into that,
sure. I mean, I like the stories of that you've been telling about, like how the moon was formed. And how there were
it had like an original space, like it
had
wasn't
origin.
just always there.
It wasn't always in the sky with the sun. It wasn't always the sun and the moon. Like the moon appeared after there was life on the earth already for a while. And that leads me to that, like the moon might have been placed there to serve a purpose, because we talked earlier about how the moon is tidally locked and we only ever see the same side of the moon all the time. This doesn't happen anywhere else in the solar system. Really? This is
unique to our moon.
Unique to our moon. Like, what are the odds that the rotation, because for us to see only the one side of the moon all the time, that means that the rotation of the earth has to match exactly the rotation of the moon in the sky, and that they're not rotating at the same rate. So it's not like the same thing force acted upon them. They're rotating in their own respective positions through space, so that we see only one side constantly.
I didn't even think the moon was rotating in its own right, but just
it has to rotate
in the
like
same way.
yeah, because as we rotate, it's rotating too.
Yeah,
and so that's why you said that the day on the moon is about 28.4 days or something like that, and that like a day on the Earth is 24 hours. So that's how quick, like the discrepancy in our rotations, that the moon is rotating way slower than we are.
Yeah.
But it has to be in that exact rate, or it would turn and we would see the dark side of it.
Yeah.
And we don't ever see the dark side of it. We only see the light side, and the part that is obscured during like the other phases of the moon is still the same side that we see
the whole time. Even if
we don't see the other side at all. Yeah. And the odds of that happening are like astronomically small. Let me give you some other mind-blowing facts about the moon that you wouldn't expect. Remember how I said that the Earth was the moon is like 30 diameters of the Earth away?
Yeah.
Well, if you take that 30 diameters of the Earth, you could actually fit all the planets in the solar system almost perfectly between us and the moon.
Even Jupiter?
You could fit Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune between us and the moon, and there's only like 2,000 miles to spare.
Seriously?
I
thought Jupiter just would encompass everything.
No, it fits almost exactly to where you could fit the rest of the planets. Are you saying that
if we added Pluto, we might have the whole thing?
No, Pluto's really small, so it wouldn't.
It wouldn't add the 2,000.
No, it would not. It would not add the 2,000 miles or so that we need.
What about that other Pluto and that weird X planet that's out there?
Oh, wait, you're talking about Nibiru? That would be a whole nother episode. But okay, so you're getting me going in two different directions here, splitting my brain, Jesse. Okay,
sorry about that. So I just wanted to know if I can cover that 2,000 miles.
There are other planets out there. That's the reason that Pluto got downgraded, is not because Pluto didn't get downgraded because of how small it is. Pluto got downgraded because we found other planets bigger than Pluto out near it.
And we're like, we're not going to include those guys. We're just going to demote one.
We're going to demote one, exactly, because they're like
our political system.
They're called like they're called like microplanets or dwarf planets or something. Like, don't quote me on this. I'll put it on the screen, whatever the actual term is. But there's Ceres. Ceres is another planet, and I think Ceres actually might be between Mars and Jupiter. That is a planet that
I think if we include these, we will get to 2,000.
Well, yeah, probably so. There's too many of them. There's that one, and then there's I don't have it off the top of my head, but there are a handful of other minor planets, dwarf planets like Pluto that are around its distance away. Yeah. But you probably would get them. But for as far as the major planets, you could squeeze them all together side by side between us and the moon, and what a coincidence that is.
Yeah, right.
So I
really did not think Jupiter would fit into that, but I'm excited for that.
Me too. So if that's not as much of a coincidence as it is, then think about the relationship between the moon and the sun. So as far as like how big the moon and the sun appear in our sky, you know how they look like they're about the same size?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but obviously the sun is like way larger than the moon.
Yeah, way larger.
Yeah. So it turns out that the sun is 400 times the size of the moon, but is also 400 times further away than the moon is. So that's how they are able to appear the same size in the sky.
It is so crazy that it like fits so perfectly
during an eclipse.
Yeah, during an eclipse, it like covers it so perfectly.
Yes, like what are the odds that the moon would perfectly cover the sun during a solar eclipse? It's like the monkeys on a typewriter thing. You know what I mean? Or if you had 1,000 monkeys on a typewriter, or like millions of monkeys on a typewriter, they would eventually write like a novel.
Yeah.
It's like those odds. Or if you had a tornado in a junkyard, which is my favorite analogy. Like if you had a tornado in an infinite junkyard and it just went on forever, what are the odds that it would eventually assemble a car that could run?
Yeah.
It's like those odds.
Jeez, that is crazy.
It's easier. I think Carl Sagan said, famed astronomer Carl Sagan, that it's easier to explain the non-existence of the moon than it is to explain its existence, because there's just so many like
It doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make sense that it's there.
So a quick side note, and I'm not going to go into it too much because I'll come into it later. But whenever the Aztecs, or the Mayans and the Aztecs both experienced, obviously those eclipses, right? Mm-hmm. Whenever the Mayans knew that it would happen. They were very smart. They were very, they were like almost Roman Empire kind of level of education. But
I see that.
The Aztecs were not quite there. And so every time it happened for the Aztecs, when you just read about their religion right now, where you just hear about their religion that I just told you, they thought that God was devouring another god, like that it was being eaten.
Oh, that's when the eclipses were happening.
Yeah. And so they were it was like a bad omen whenever that happened. It was like, oh shit, a god's eating another god.
And that was the one that had the different suns, like the ages.
Yeah. So like, if a god was eating another god, it
was a big deal.
In fact, even like they believed like women who had died in childbirth would come back as demons and inflict disease on people. They would also think that children were turned into mice.
That's weird.
Yeah. So weird thing about the
first one kind of makes sense, but the second one's kind of a jump. But
yeah, and then if it was an eclipse where there was a sun or the lunar eclipse where the
lunar eclipse
got covered, the moon got covered, they would think that it was that women who were pregnant would get their children come out deformed.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So that's weird. Anyways, eclipses.
Eclipses are weird. Like, it blows my mind to think that they're the same size, like that.
Yeah, like that the sun can cover the moon and the shadow of the earth over the moon, or
could be
the other way
exactly
around.
the same. Yeah, like that doesn't happen by accident.
It's
to me,
so weird.
Yes,
it's like it was placed there on purpose.
I know. Score 1 point for intelligent design.
Intelligent design, right?
Yeah, and so the moon orbiting in a perfect circle, it almost orbits in exactly a perfect circle around the Earth. And that is very rare too, because most of the time it's an ellipse. It's like a stretched circle.
Like something like an oval of sorts.
And remember earlier I talked about how the moon was the 5th largest moon in the solar system. Yeah. And that's the largest in relation to the planet that it orbits. No other moon is as big compared to the planet that it orbits as
Are you suggesting we have the best moon?
I think so.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, we definitely have the best moon.
Earth has the best moon.
Best moon.
Best
yes,
moon.
Exactly. We only have the best moons. Earth, the best moon. Okay.
Yeah.
Make the moon great again.
Make the moon great again.
Okay, so remember how I talked about like how the moon is a quarter of the size of the Earth. It's the largest in relation to the planets, but the mass that I talked about earlier is only 1.2% of Earth's mass. Mm-hmm. So when they did Apollo, I want to say that it was Apollo 12 and 14 maybe, that when they were leaving, I think it was that when they were leaving, I don't think it's when they were arriving to the moon, that they launched the third stage rocket booster that they had spent already on escaping Earth's gravity or whenever they used it. They shot it into the moon to see what would happen. While they were orbiting it, they're just like, oh, we got nothing to do. We're just going to shoot this $1 million piece of equipment into the moon. So they shot it at the moon, and every account that you read of this will say that the moon rang like a bell. I heard the words "rang like a bell" about 1,000 times during my research.
Like a bell.
Yes, but it reverberated like it was like dong, like a gong when it hit the moon. Is that they used the equipment like seismic monitoring sort of thing or whatever, and
that's weird.
It kept reverberating like it was struck by like a cymbal with a drumstick, and that wouldn't happen to
any planet,
right?
Or any solid thing, really.
Yes, because the density of like the Earth or whatever, it's just going to absorb that impact and that energy. But since we think based on this that the moon is not as dense as the Earth, because 1.2%, that it reverberates when it's struck by something. And they did it again with the next Apollo mission. Okay, so the first one rang for like 30 minutes because it struck it and they were able to monitor it. But the second one that they crashed into it, like this is like a rocket booster type thing that they're just shoving it down into it from the orbiter, and they push it down into it, and it struck the moon and it rang for over 3 hours. And they were able to like monitor that too because it was just reverberating like blah, 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 blah,
That's so
you know?
weird. Could you start an earthquake there?
Right. And they call it a moonquake.
Moonquake. Yeah.
Yeah,
Sorry.
that's a cool name too. I think
Moonquake.
Moonquake's an awesome name, like for like an album or something.
Yeah,
I think
Moonquake.
Moonquake. Yeah.
I would listen to that. I don't know what that would
So
be.
they think that like I don't know, like the scientific explanation for that might be like during that like tumultuous period where the moon might have formed from the debris from the impact of the other body in the Earth, is that it formed like it had pockets of nothing and like whatever, like when it was spinning around.
Yeah. Like just like the
It was just a trash heap, sort of just like got compiled or whatever.
and then dust built over it.
Yeah,
That's interesting.
and that it wasn't a solid thing with like a super dense core, and like how like the core is the most dense, and that outer as it
Yeah, like
expands,
as we
as you get
expand,
closer to
yeah.
the surface, that it gets less dense. But the moon is actually the opposite of that.
It's just a whole bunch of things put together.
Could be.
Yeah, it could
yes,
be.
It has pockets of voids that are in the moon, or that it's sort of maybe like a spaceship, which is another theory that I like a lot.
So this is not Voyager to the center of the Earth, but like
This is like how you would have a craft of some sort, about how there would be room on the inside for people or for beings or whatever. And on the outside, it would be more dense because that would be your protective outer layer in your shell.
weird.
And there's
that'd be a giant ship. That would be like Death Star level giant.
Oh, where do you think the Death Star got its like inspiration from?
Right.
Yeah.
That's just an old It's an old Death Star not being used anymore. That just is.
I like that.
Just sitting there.
An abandoned Death Star. I like where you're going with that,
In
Jesse.
a time long ago.
Yeah, that's actually very relevant to what I want to talk about, because I'll give you some more evidence that it could be an abandoned type Death Star sort of thing. So when they like how I talked about how on a normal planet, like when it forms, how you have the dense iron core and how like the less dense material, like because that's how the naturally sorting of things in a chaotic environment.
Even if in the water, like if you
Right.
level in water and different minerals,
The
and
densities,
stuff. Yeah,
yes,
that's
exactly.
the same
They
problem.
sort by that, but the moon is anomalous in that it does opposite of that. Like the more dense things are near the surface.
That's so weird.
Is very strange, including, okay, so if you take samples of the regolith and like the rocks on the moon, they were able to find the presence of elements rarely found on Earth, such as titanium, uranium, thorium, and zirconium. And if you look at a periodic table, these are elements that are like down on it. Theirs are not like your hydrogen, oxygen gases and stuff. Like these are your.
Are you? Sorry, this is me being maybe dumb, but are you saying that the levels on which they are on the periodic table is the more dense they are?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Holy crap!
Yeah.
that's just new for me, guys. Sorry, guys. I went to college.
Oh no,
I should know that,
because
but-
you hear about the noble gases and
Yeah,
like
yeah,
stuff
yeah.
like that, and like the further down you go, are like the more dense that they're going to be, because
I
they're going to
didn't
have
know,
more
yeah.
protons and more neutrons. I think.
I really feel like I should have learned this in.
I mean, did you go to school in the same state that I went to? Because we didn't learn things either. But like the natural order of things is like you said with the liquid, is that the most dense ones would be at the bottom, but the moon is opposite of that.
Yeah.
And besides the fact that it like rings like a bell or like a gong when it's struck by things, is another good evidence for the spaceship moon theory that I like to call it. Is that the craters, no matter how big the craters are on the moon, is that they all seem to kind of bottom out at the same distance.
As if they hit something.
Like as if they hit something. Yeah. Like they can be different diameters and like how wide they are, but as far as how deep they are, the craters are always about the same depth.
Interesting.
Which is very odd. And we're not the only ones to like ever consider this before. In this 1970s, these two Soviet scientists named Mikhail Vizan and Alexander Shcherbakov, they released
you have some hard names too.
I do have some hard names. They released a paper called the Spaceship Moon Theory. And in that, they theorized that the presence of the moon and the characteristics of it, like based on the observations that they had, that it was more likely that it was artificial than it was like a natural made satellite, because how else would it explain these anomalous characteristics?
Yeah.
And those aren't the only ones that it has. Like there's a lot.
So
of
they weren't in like intelligent design. They were like intelligent design meaning
aliens possibly.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, possibly some like UFO ET sort of
I admittedly, I have people ask me, "What do you think of aliens?" And I don't know what I think of them.
I will talk about aliens with you with this till the cows come home.
Yeah,
Which is funny, the cattle mutilations. But I have an excellent, interesting government-sponsored theory about what ETs really are.
Mm-hmm.
And the United States put like a lot of money into researching this specifically, and like their findings were really astonishing, and you wouldn't expect them, I don't think. But that's not what I want to talk about right now. Okay, so we were talking about like the composition of the moon, and the possibility of it being artificial.
Yeah, like artificial, like
not just hollow, but like it was placed there as well.
Which would give some kind of explanation for like those old gods taking over or appearing suddenly, things like that. Yeah,
I like how you mentioned that, Jesse, because there's a Zulu legend. They talked to this Zulu shaman, and he told them this story that had been passed down through their culture for generations, that they came from a time before the moon too, and that in their culture that they believed that the moon was brought here by these two brothers. I can't remember if they were like reptilian.
That fits into the Aztec story where it's two gods, of some sort, two brothers that are both diving into the fire.
And somehow they like harnessed the moon somewhere else in the world, in the universe, and they brought it here to where the Earth is, and that they either water was on the surface of the moon, or they cracked it open and water was in it, and water came out. And this is when the floods happened that you hear about in all the cultures around the world. And the time,
remember, that was the fourth age in the Aztec, and then it moved into the fifth age was when the moon appeared.
And that this fits in a lot with the flood myths that happen everywhere around the world that we talked about in other episodes.
Well, and the flood myths are like everywhere. Like
ubiquitous flood myths. Yes, exactly.
Most popular one, Noah and the Ark.
Noah and the Ark, of
everyone
course.
knows about flood myths. Yeah.
And so like the timing of that seems like pretty suspicious. It's like, okay, well,
highly suspicious.
I know, but you can fit a flood myth and explain it with the moon, but then also like the flood myth is like what might have buried Atlantis or might have been caused by a comet or something like that. Like you hear, was it just their reasoning of why a flood occurred, or did they actually witness something?
Did they witness something
in the sky that happened? Yeah, exactly. It was like that explaining. The way that they explained the floods was that they saw something happen in the sky, and they're like, oh, okay, well, it was the moon cracking open.
Which, you think about that medieval thing I read, that little piece where the guy was talking about something.
The moon getting hit by something sounded like a meteor storm or something.
Yeah. And you think of the moon as so consistent, like it's the same every day, and then all of a sudden something weird happens. You're like, okay, well, what's happening?
I like that you mentioned that, because in the, let's see, I can't remember what episode it was, probably Atlantis episode or Antarctica, one of those.
I could see either of those.
Yeah, me too. Where we talked about how the Younger Dryas impact hypothesis, about how the Earth could have been hit by something that caused the ice sheet to melt, and the ice sheet could have caused the flooding that happened everywhere.
Yeah.
And so this might have happened around the time that allegedly happened.
Well, I'm thinking of like the age of in the Aztec culture, like it's only 600 something years for a lot of them, or 300 at the least ones. And so you're like, that's not very much history in the end.
Right. It's like it's dropping the bucket.
Yeah.
As in the grand scheme of everything.
In the grand scheme of a billion years, that's nothing. Like 600 here, 600 there, whatever.
And what are the odds that it happens during the same period where the floods happen everywhere?
And like, if we do like the Noah's Ark, it's all like 5,000-6,000 years ago, whatever.
They all kind of line up with the same timeline.
Yeah, they line up sometime
suspiciously.
Yeah, suspiciously within 1,000-year radius of some sort. And you're like, well, that's pretty weird.
That's a margin of error that's pretty slim.
Well, and human history all shares like there's a flood that's happening. We're not trying to explain that this is what happened with the flood, but we're
not saying that the moon caused the flood or whatever.
But this is another suggestion that's put forth.
Right, and of all the things that the moon helps with, with our orbit and whatnot that we talked about earlier, or whatever in the tides. Yeah, exactly. So like think about what would happen if there was no moon in the sky. The way that we're kind of framing it is that the moon being there is a good thing.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So I heard today, and I was just reviewing for this, with you because we're doing this today, but I studied for a few months before this, and I was just trying to refresh my memory, but I couldn't remember which YouTube videos were useful and which podcasts were useful and which ones were like absolutely terrible.
Of course.
So, but these one people put forward this idea that, you know how like in the Bible before the Noah's Ark, how we had like the firmament that was in the sky or whatever. It was kind of layered with moisture.
Jewish concept that they thought there was like an ice world around it. Yeah.
It was like, I guess like a mist or something kind of thing, but it made a perpetual like good climate. I think is like the way that it's portrayed. Is like
dense climate.
Things could grow.
Oxygen.
The sun was dimmer because we were looking at it through like a big like fog mist sort of thing.
Would that be the age where the sun was not very strong?
That could have been that too. Yeah, exactly. Hey, that kind of lines up with that. The sun was not very strong during that time, and then
connections.
And then like the moon arrives, cracks open or whatever, or changes the orbit or something like that, and then all of that water falls down to the earth, and you have the floods, and then you have the flood myths that occur everywhere, and then you have the seasons that are happening.
Yeah, they're trying
more
to
extreme.
Yeah, of course.
I don't know. It seems like an era of extreme turmoil and like the climate changing all the time.
Yeah.
You could not get used to anything happening, and you could see how the Aztecs and other cultures would have these like ages that would appear.
Yeah, these are ages. I mean, we even still do that. Like we call it the Ice Age or the I mean, we refer to everything as like ages, right?
That's true.
But we usually do it human centric, like. There was like the Iron Age and
the Bronze Age and stuff like that. But like really, we're just like one of the pawns in the whole
in a bigger scheme of ages, of ice giants and whatnot.
Okay, so before the Apollo missions, let's talk about stuff that you were leading into with the myths.
Yeah. So,
what do you think the year was of the most recent legend that you were talking about?
Are you talking about like when did like the age of the fifth sun come about?
No, what about those medieval guys? When did that happen?
So interestingly, like medieval people, like they did do a lot of things with the moon. Like the moon,
they were trying to be scientific.
They were early scientific method, right? And so they did read like, okay, if you were born under this moon, this could be kind of equal this. They definitely associate it with the feminine. They also understood eclipses. They could read when an eclipse was going to happen. They had no problem with it. It got very associated with Mary or Our Lady, which is
the eclipses or the moon.
The moon in general.
Okay.
This happened partly because Our Lady, in some very regular way, like you have like pagan societies who become Christian. Mary somewhat is like a much nicer situation. Like
I could see that.
Yeah. So all the goddesses.
Where do they get that from? Besides her being a woman, though.
Where do they get the idea?
Her being nicer, like.
Oh, we'll get into that. Okay. So
I'm just curious.
So I guess one of the things I first should say is like in the late Middle Ages, they had a very good idea of when things were going to happen, and Christopher Columbus even used this as an advantage for himself when he was in like the Aztec world. Whenever like they started rebelling and not bringing the ship food. So
the tribute.
Yeah, tribute. So he was like, there's he talked about how this thing was going to happen and the sun would go and disappear and
oh wow, I can see that.
And like if you didn't God would punish you if you did not and then there was an eclipse and they're like, oh,
he's
shit.
Right about that. Yeah.
So
he's prophetic.
Yeah, the Aztecs totally fell for that move.
I mean, how could you not fall for that though? Like this guy's telling you the sun's going to be blotted out this certain
and it blots out.
Yeah, exactly.
And
wow.
And the Aztec culture was a little bit more superstitious about that. They thought of it was as a bad omen or whatnot. So it was like, yeah,
we should take him seriously.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. But another thing happens. While the Christopher Columbus is very like it doesn't matter what you feel about
polarizing
him.
Figure.
But he was very smart and he was a good sailor. Like if there's anything to be said about him, you could say a lot about his
politics.
His politics,
but not his seafaringness.
Oh, and his willingness to go find a new world. Like how many of you guys are willing to go to the moon, right? Like
that's what I was like. Say,
that's what that kind of level of thinking is. Like he's like, I'm going to cross.
He's the god that said that I will become the sun.
And then he became a son of sorts. Now I'm not saying a good one, a violent one, a very violent Aztec son is what
as they are. Yes.
But on the other side, you do have great associations with Our Lady. A lot of these goddess figures are both like Juno, these Aztec goddesses here. Like there's a lot of association with violence. You don't see that with Catholicism. And of course, Catholicism doesn't have a goddess, right? Like it has one
Mary.
God, has one God, it has three persons and not one God. But Mary was the mother of Jesus, right? And of course, Marian devotion was popular since the 2nd century, 3rd century. And there was a lot of understanding of her through the light of the moon, which is weird. And in a lot
I was
of ways,
curious about like why Mary is so revered as she is.
Yeah. Well, she's like a new Ark of the Covenant, right? Okay. Like she carries God in her, follows the same path of the Ark from the Old Testament, which if you guys listen to our Ark of the Covenant
first episode,
I'm not saying it's great.
It's a bit raw, but it's okay.
Very raw. But
we're still raw here.
For early Christians was the example of the new Ark of the Covenant, the new covenant.
The new covenant.
Yeah.
Yes.
And she carried Jesus. Well, what does the moon do? The moon reflects the sun. Always.
Hey, that's pretty good. I like that.
It's a very poetic truth, right? But there's even more to that. Like, so of course she reflects light, and she is the feminine nature, which every culture has it holds up a feminine nature in the moon, right?
There's always a balance.
Yeah. And you need that, because if it's just masculine culture,
we're going to die at war and not be able to feed our people or take care of our children or any of those things.
Or have children, right?
Yeah, exactly. Or make the bed.
Yeah, geez, right? Well, but there's also like in the early understanding of the book of Revelations, there's a woman who does appear who's going to bear the savior of the world. And she's clothed with the sun and with the moon under her feet, and on her head a crown of stars, 12 stars, right? So many Christians interpreted this as Mary and as a symbol, right?
Right.
So furthermore, she becomes like this idea of like new beginnings. You know, the moon wanes and it disappears and it starts over again. So you got new beginnings.
Renewal example and imagery of that. Yeah.
You have guidance because they're all guiding their year through the lunar cycle. I mean, in fact, they even had days. Oh, you plant this plant on the 6th day of the moon at this time, right? Like this was normal for the medieval world. She was a symbol of purity. The only light that the moon gives is nothing of itself, but only
reflection.
Of the sun. Yeah.
Yep.
And it's also so there's association with the moon with the sun. Of course, this is this kind of cosmic theology, right? Well, furthermore, we have this in the pagan societies. The moon was a symbol of fertility, femininity. And I mean, she literally has a kid. She's fertile to the point where she doesn't even have to have like sex. She has a kid, right?
Yes.
So
the Immaculate Conception.
Yeah, exactly. The Immaculate.
The real one. Not this fake one that we've been talking about.
And then also there was this image of the woman standing on the moon becomes very big. Well, so first it happens. The moon becomes a symbol.
Rabbit or different than the rabbit?
Just the moon.
Okay.
Standing on the moon. So there's this image of the moon, the crescent moon. What religion uses the crescent moon?
Islam.
Well, whenever the Crusades did beat Islam in the 1500s from taking over Spain, there was a huge like kind of like rosary to Our Lady prayed to protect Spain from like the Islamic forces, and they were successful. Like it was like 300. They had like 300 warriors to like 1,200 warriors. And they were way overwhelmed.
They overwhelmed them.
They were overwhelmed.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
They were overmatched.
Yeah, they were overmatched. And with their prayers to Our Lady, they won. And so they thought of her standing on the moon.
There we go.
But that even becomes more interesting when you think of Aztec culture, where their gods are devouring other gods, literally sun and moon gods.
Oh yeah, I see that.
And there's a depiction. One day maybe we'll do an episode on this. Our Lady of Guadalupe.
Oh yeah, I want to talk about this. Yeah,
miraculously appeared.
Oh, this is cool.
Yeah, miraculously appeared on a guy's tunic.
Yep.
After he hid them in like with flowers, he hid flowers in his tunic to take to a bishop. Again, maybe we'll do an episode on this because it would be great. But there, Our Lady appears clothed with the sun, standing on the moon. She is symbolized as a virgin
with the sun standing on the moon. And there's some words right there.
Well, and it's a victory like over the old gods, a victory over old religion. The old religion, every old religion starts with violence, the killing of ice giants, the devouring of the sun before, the killing of this or the beating up of that.
Yep. The burning of this. Yeah. Yes. And through the ashes,
yeah,
something
through the
else
ashes,
is born.
something grows. And Christianity is suggesting no, God created the world and it was good. And yes, it fell in a fallen state, but it was created for goodness.
Yeah.
And even furthermore, God doesn't push like his own will onto things, but he asked the Virgin Mary, will you do this? And
so it's a choice.
Yeah. And she says yes, or the fiat, which is yes, I will do this. He asked for her will to be aligned with his, God's will to be aligned with hers. And
she says,
and she bears God to the world in this non-violent. Like, she doesn't have to kill the gods, but by bearing God, she kills gods, right?
That's what makes it different.
Yeah, that's what. So it's very cool in that way. And so there's a lot of things associated with Mary and the moon. And so a lot of times, you in the beginning you asked, what do I think when I see the moon? Often
this is all what comes to mind.
As a Catholic, I think
multi-layered thing.
I think of the old pagan goddesses, but I also think of Mary and her association with nonviolence, but also her association with the acceptance of goodness and saying yes to that goodness. And I'm like, the moon reminds me to be good.
That's awesome.
It reminds me to be peaceful. It reminds me to say yes.
Peaceful. I can see that in the moon for sure.
Yeah, and you think of that romantic night, but now you also think of the noir, or where the moon is spreading this kind of shadow and
exactly
and sketchiness, where you're like, oh, this is scary.
If you interpret it in that way,
of course.
Does the moon provide cover for like the
for darkness or for? Or
you said sketchiness, but like, what is the word that I'm searching for? It's like the cover that you need for malevolence to proliferate. And that
of course
does
that
not
only happens in the darkest times of the year. So in the Sufi Muslim tradition, the sun and the moon are the eyes of Allah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
So the sun is always during the day prevalent. The moon, there is a time in a month where it sleeps.
It's not looking.
And so during that time they feel like they can get away with a few things that are maybe a little bit more coarse.
When was 9/11? Okay.
I don't think the Sufis would do that. They're called the whirling
like
dervishes. Yeah.
Well, the whirling dervishes, I've heard of them. What do they do?
They're like the hippies.
Oh, okay, never mind. The hippies, the hippies. Counterculture.
The countercultural Sufis.
It depends on what your definition of counterculture is. Okay, sorry, Jesse, remind me again of when these Middle Ages guys were, because I'm trying to get a timeline together. They saw that thing that happened in the sky.
That was happening in the 1100s.
1100s, okay.
And of course, Our Lady was happening like that. Like, of devotion to her started in the 2nd century, but really, like that.
I want more recent. Give me.
That gets to the 1500s. Of
1500s.
Course, Our Lady of Guadalupe was like 1500s, I think, maybe even 1400s, but I think 1500s. And so that comes really up to like the modern day.
All right, I can get you to the 1700s.
Get me to the 1700s.
Get you to the 1700s. Okay,
before I talk about anything else.
No, you're good. I'll give you a space in a moment. So in 1787, there's a German astronomer. His name was William Herschel. And he's not just some random bloke.
When I hear Herschel, I think of Walking Dead.
I knew it. Somehow Herschel was like memorialized in Walking Dead, and that's the name that everybody associates with that. And I do too. Like Herschel, it sounds like Hershey's, but besides that,
what a good
Dead,
character.
Yes.
Anyways,
he was good. But so this guy wasn't just some random bloke. Like, he actually was the first one to discover Uranus. I went for it and I just like bumbled the whole thing. They had telescopes. You can't see Uranus with the naked eye.
Yeah.
He saw Uranus through a telescope. It sounds like he's looking over a fence with some binoculars. I'll probably edit this out.
No, don't. Keep it right where it is.
Okay, so that gives him credibility. All right, he reported seeing 3 bright lights, or like volcano type activities appearing on the moon that he could see with his telescope. So he saw it's like 3 like flashes that happened in different places on the moon.
That's weird.
Yeah, it is weird because the moon is thought to be seismically dead. It's like not thought to have any like earthquake. Like the moonquake things that we mentioned earlier were
made by us.
Made by us, or impacts from like asteroids.
Outside forces.
Exactly. It wasn't thought to have like the magma flowing and things that cause earthquakes normally. And it turned out that his son in 1835 observed. Okay, so this is kind of an out there sort of thing that happened at the time. And he was looking through his telescope and he's like, oh, my dad saw these 3 bright lights. So I'm going to have to outdo him. So
gotta outdo my dad.
I got to outdo my dad. So I'm looking through my telescope, and
I feel like there's something Freudian there.
And I see these crystal temples, and I see some bat-like humanoids with their wings.
This reminds me of some of the stuff from Antarctica episode where we were talking about. Yeah,
yep. And I'm like, I might see some beavers walking upright, and there's some unicorns up there too. Their horns look like horses and that. And everybody's like, oh well, this guy's the son of renowned astronomer William Herschel, so like he must be telling the truth. And it turns out that all of this was fake, and it was written by journalist Richard Adams Locke, and it was called The Great Moon Hoax.
Oh.
And so none of this was true. Like it appeared in like periodical journals and stuff like that.
But this is probably one of those early times they're actually associating with life on the moon. Mm-hmm. I don't think before this point life on the moon was really a thought. Like
probably so.
Like medieval people or ancient people, like so the ancient people associated
it was
the moon
wide
with
open.
a god. Yeah, it was a god of sorts. And then medieval people used it as symbolism.
Jesse. Yeah,
but this seems like the first time that we see
turns into a planet.
Yeah, it turns into a planet with something happening on it where they have their own life. Well, you don't see that even when Dante's traveling across planets, you don't get that.
I like that. Thank you for that, Jesse. That is something that I did not think about at all when I was researching this, is that it transforms from a god into a place
where people things can live.
Yes, exactly.
And this is like the beginning of like a sci-fi almost, right?
Like, you say sci-fi. Do you know the what was it called? The War of the Worlds with who did the world? H.G. Wells.
Yeah, H.G. Wells.
Orson Welles was his son, right? Or nephew.
I'll take it.
There was this whole hoax thing that happened across the radio in America. Do you remember this? Where he talked about the people landing on Earth and the aliens had happened, and this was happening on the radio, and they thought it was a real broadcast.
So I actually listened. On Spotify, you can listen to the original broadcast.
Oh, awesome! This fascinates me.
It is. If you just go ahead and turn on the broadcast, listen to War of the Worlds as it was originally presented, and if you don't tune in the first like couple minutes, it just sounds like a news.
Really?
It's amazing. Like,
sounds
guys,
cool.
Like this would be a fun project if you're like, hey, I want a weird date night or something. Go listen to War of the Worlds. Skip the first few minutes and just like let it be a broadcast. Oh my God, it's fantastic. It's good. It's good. It truly is good.
I'm a big believer in the cartoon called Hey Arnold.
Love Hey Arnold.
Hey Arnold was my favorite cartoon growing up, and there is a lot of symbolism in Hey Arnold and a lot of like influences, and they do a War of the Worlds broadcast episode.
Oh, cool.
Yes, and I think it might be a Halloween episode, which is like allows the costumes sort of get by because anything could happen on a Halloween night.
Exactly.
And they dress as aliens, and
dude, that's cool.
It's a tribute to the War of the Worlds broadcast with Orson Welles.
It is worth a listen. You can listen to it for free on Spotify.
It's really cool. I'm a big fan of this. So that was called The Great Moon Hoax, and that happened in 1835. A little bit before that, this Bavarian astronomer, I can't pronounce his name, was like Franz Paula von Grithus, blah, blah, blah. And he thought he saw like a lunar city with like.
Is that like when people are looking at Google Maps and looking and they feel like they see like the red or stuff like that? You're just like,
yeah, I don't know what he saw because I don't know if he was on Google Maps or not. But
well, he definitely was on Google Maps, but he's like looking through a telescope and he's imagining stuff.
Yeah. You know those Bavarians.
Eating too much chocolate.
Yeah, exactly.
Too much Bavarian cream. So much sugar in his
He's like
diet.
an honorable mention in this sort of thing. Like, I'm giving him a shout out. We mispronounce his name, but like 150 years, almost 200 years. He's 1824, so he's 200 years now,
and he's still being remembered.
Yeah, exactly. We remember you for your. His name is Franz von Paula Grithus.
Yeah, that guy.
Yeah. He observed a lunar city in his telescope.
Well, that's pretty cool.
Whatever.
I like a lunar city. I
want some good stuff. You say Legends and Libations. We want some good lunar, believable alien stuff. Accounts.
I want real aliens.
You want real aliens, Jesse. Yeah. Okay.
if you're gonna be on Legends and Libations, you better have real aliens.
Yeah, I feel like we've been a little bit like light on the aliens lately.
Yes.
I don't know, but
Yes, absolutely. Where's
one
our
time
aliens?
I promised some aliens and there weren't that many aliens. So let's get to the Apollo missions
Okay.
because that's when we sent some astronauts into the sky.
Yeah, because before that, we're just looking through a little
we're just looking
telescope.
through,
We're like,
we're trying to I think that's a
maybe
guy up
that's
there.
a-
Maybe that's something.
maybe that's a planet right there.
Or,
But and we, again, they're beginning the kind of
Who
idea
knows?
that maybe something could be there. But
I like their imagination.
yeah, but let's
Yeah.
talk about like what's really there. Apollo missions went there.
Okay, so we talked about the Apollo for the one where the guys blew up.
So sad.
Yeah, that wasn't great. That was in
RIP.
1967.
Yeah.
So that one wasn't called Apollo 1 at the time. I didn't know this, but so we skipped Apollo 2 and 3 due to like the numbering
We
or,
just-
or whatever.
we're
We
just
we
skipping.
retconned it and they
We
weren't called Apollo at the time.
maybe they were secret.
More on that in a minute. But so they had 4 through 6 Apollos didn't have anybody on them. They're like, well, the last one didn't go so well, so we're gonna just send up a test for a little bit, like the instruments. We'll let that,
Send a toaster into it up in
we'll
space.
set up a dog or a cat or something, see what happens. A chimpanzee.
This toad went up into space.
I think they did send some turtles. I saw a thumbnail on
That seems cold.
YouTube.
They're cold blooded. Why would you do that to your turtle?
Turtles live a long time. That's why they got a protective shell. You protect from that Van Allen radiation belt. You got to watch out for that. Okay, so at 7, we put some people on board
Mythic number
on 7, and so 7 through 10 were more like practice.
What, did they just go in like the atmosphere and then come down?
They went a little bit further each time. 7 through 9, they went pretty far, and then 10 orbited the moon. Didn't send any guys down, but it came within about 8 kilometers of the surface.
How?
There was called the dress rehearsal.
Dress rehearsal.
Yeah, it was
that's like
I'm sorry, I
5
can't do.
miles.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
So the interesting thing about Apollo 10 is that when they were on the far side of the moon, is that the astronauts on board observed this thing that was because when you're on the far side of the moon, you can't get any radio signals back to Earth. The whole moon is blocking your ability to transmit radio signals. You can't talk to mission control.
There's a planet
Houston.
in the way.
There's a whole planet in the way. So when they were on the far side, they were in radio silence.
Wow.
And
that must have been weird.
Well, it was especially weird because they claimed they heard this, what they call moon music. And they heard these like sort of Doctor Who themes, sort of like
Weird
things happening in their ears that were happening. And they wanted to explain it away as like interference or whatever, but they never really could give a rational explanation for what was making the sound. And you have a quotes from them. They were talking on the Apollo 10 module that was orbiting the moon. It said, it sounds like outer space type music is what they said while it was happening.
This was in 1960s.
The 1960s.
I wonder what outer space music was considered in the 1960s.
You can find a recording of what they heard, and it kind of sounds like what I was doing. It was like kind of like a whistling sort of thing. That was, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like that.
Yeah. It was weird, but it kind of has some substance to it. It was mysterious. It's weird. Like they tried to say it was like interference or something, but that doesn't really make sense because there wouldn't be interference if they were completely cut
Interference
off.
with what?
With what? Exactly. Yeah. So they have that outer space type music that was happening. So that was Apollo 10. That was our dress rehearsal. So Apollo 11. Apollo 11 is where it all gets down to business.
The nitty gritty.
Yes, you've got Neil Armstrong, you've got Buzz Aldrin, and Michael Collins.
Just with a name like Neil Armstrong, you just have to imagine he had just like huge arms that were just like
it's Armstrong. Like you can't let down the other Armstrongs.
Yeah, I just can't imagine him having anything.
You got Louis Armstrong. And yeah, you've got Billy Joe Armstrong with Green Day, one of my favorite bands, and some other Armstrongs I don't really know.
Yeah, we love the. I know a few Armstrongs.
I don't even know any
Very
Armstrongs.
good folks. Yeah.
So there's a lot of things weird, dude, that happened with Apollo 11.
Was Apollo 11 the one that landed?
The one that landed, yes. Okay. So before Apollo 11 landed, there was this thing called transient lunar phenomena, and I shouldn't even tell you that yet. I should say that
a lunar phenomenon.
Okay, so what I should tell you is that for the last 1,000 years,
I like that. That's
more than 2,000 examples of random lights appearing on the moon have been observed and recorded.
Like that one I was talking about?
Yes, like that one that you were talking about. And so most of these lights are explained away by meteors striking, gases maybe escaping from the outside.
But some of them are guns.
Maybe
Cowboys that are going wild.
You never know. The last frontier is the moon.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
So like it could be gases, it could be strikes of meteors and stuff like that, or like I don't know, it could be some industrial thing that's happening like under the surface or whatever.
Yeah, some kind of industrial.
Yeah, you know how when you look over at the plants down by the river,
they have
those flames in the sky. Yeah, exactly. And like, okay, well, I mean, you never know. So
it's not out of the picture. With the amount that I trust my government right now, are they not already building things on the moon that I don't know about? And I don't know if I would have any ability to say.
You would never be able to believe them otherwise if they were or were not. But with this like transient lunar phenomena thing, it was observed even by the Apollo astronauts as they were approaching the moon.
Wow.
And before they did their descent with the lunar module, when they were going around the dark side, that Neil Armstrong, he was looking out the window of the shuttle, and he saw that this thing called the Aristarchus crater. The Aristarchus crater looked like it was illuminated even when they were on the dark side, and there would be nothing that would naturally illuminate it at all. Yeah, so that doesn't make any sense at all. So they landed on the moon, and I feel like they spent maybe 3 hours or so there the first time. Correct me if I'm wrong. I know on the last lunar mission, which was the 17th one, that they spent 3 days there. So sometime less than 3 days. So while they were there, you get a lot of funny instances that may have happened. Okay, so people who like to claim that the moon landings were a hoax like to take the footage that we have and pick it apart and be like, oh, there's no stars, or oh, they were slowing down the footage to make it look like there was no gravity or whatever. But if you actually like go into the archives or whatever that NASA has provided, there are hundreds of hours and radio transcripts of how long they were on the moon. It was not just like little clips here and there like we were made to believe. It was actually like all documented and all filmed that they were able to see, and they did some of it live. And okay, I'm going to go back a little bit and talk about the moon landing hoax thing. Okay, so one of the moon landing hoax like pro arguments is that when you see the video of the lunar module launching back up into space to dock with the orbiter, the lunar orbiter, is that you see this. I don't know if you've seen this video or not, but but it's like a third person view of the lunar module from the surface of the moon, and it launches from the surface of the moon, and when you see it launch, it has like an explosion of color, but it's supposed to be black and white, and it's like red, green, blue explosion that happens as
America.
Sorry. Well, that would not be red, green, and blue.
Oh, shoot.
That'd be red, white, and blue. It all comes back to Ireland. That's funny. So what they did, the reason that the red, green, and blue occurs is because the frame rate that happened on the moon was so low, is that they had to intersplice it with like red, green, blue light, and then like black or whatever. Is that's how the film did, because the film rate was so slow that they had to do those to make it look like it was a smooth transition all the time. So whenever the astronauts or anything happened on the moon moved, there would always be like a red, green, blue sort of like trail that happened after them, because that's your eyes are processing it faster than the frame rate that's happening on the moon, because they're 328,000 miles away, and that's why it didn't look like it was high. It's not high definition or whatever.
I just can't imagine my phone working the same on the moon.
Right, 100%. So with these red, green, and blue intersplicings of the color, like it was able to make it look more cinematic or like more fit for TV or whatever. But with that being said, there are some weird things that happened on the moon too. Is like one of the we're getting to the legends here. Like this is the legends and libations part of the moon.
Happened, yeah.
Okay, so they're doing the moonwalk, and you have the one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind happening with Neil Armstrong. And so one of the rumors is that while this was happening and they were doing their normal, like whatever was planned to happen on the surface of the moon, like the science experiments, gathering of lunar rocks and stuff like that, is that Neil Armstrong noticed something happening, and he switched over on his radio from like the normal comms channel to like the private like medical channel that they would use like if there was an emergency happening.
Interesting.
And he said they're here and they're watching us from the crater's edge. And
what?
By that he meant that there were extraterrestrials or UFOs that were observing the Americans that had landed on the moon.
What happens if it was the Russians, though? What happens if the Russians were watching us from the craters?
There's a good story about the Russians that I might mention coming up. But
that is weird.
So, of course, like in the normal like NASA official transcripts or the video evidence provided by the government, like this conversation never happens at all. But you know how we know about it is that ham radio operators on Earth during that time
we're still collecting.
We're all pointed at the Earth because, get this, Jesse, I didn't know this at all. This is Apollo 11, 1969. Right. My bad. There were 600 million people watching it on TV, and this was a fifth of the population of the whole world was looking at this at one time. That's crazy.
It's interesting to me when they started televising things. Like, and in fact, we actually almost now any secret mission we don't televise, but like literally the moon landing, the Vietnam War.
Yeah, they were televising that. They were putting
why
that
would
on
you
TV?
put that on TV?
Yeah, that is weird.
That's so weird.
That's when our patriotism was like never questioned. And then now it is.
Well, then it was questioned from that point on.
Yeah, exactly.
We're like,
they messed up.
You done messed up. You should have showed us that.
That's so
now
funny.
we know how crazy you guys are.
Absolutely.
Oh my God.
So the people with the ham radio operators claim that this conversation happened on the private channel. And then of course NASA like denies that it happened. So like who do you believe in this instance?
Right now, I don't trust the government.
I don't trust him either. Buzz Aldrin said on his way to the moon that he saw a light moving outside the lunar module that was like moving irrespective to the stars in the sky. And there was no explanation for that. But a lot of time NASA tries to claim that this was part of the rockets from the spaceship that were also moving because they, you know how they like jettison different parts of it as they don't need them anymore. Yeah. But like how many times is that excuse going to work? Because they use this excuse a lot of the time for like UFOs or things that look weird
but it's like
in the
eventually
sky.
Like 3 times.
Yeah.
You didn't have
fool
to.
Me
You only
once,
had 2 of
fool
us.
Me once.
Fool me twice.
Won't get fooled again. Yeah. So that happened multiple times with multiple Apollo astronauts that they saw something moving outside of their module and they couldn't explain what it was. And also like if it was a part of the spaceship, how would it be moving like ahead of them or in a different pattern at all?
Yeah.
Like it would be following the same trajectory and it wouldn't have any of the same, like it would have the initial thrust, but like once it disengaged or whatever. Yeah, exactly.
That doesn't make sense.
That doesn't make any sense. So I talked about the transient lunar phenomena that happen where you see the weird lights happening on the moon.
Yeah, which is so weird. It's like there's a kingdom happening there that are not like that no one's talking about. Which to think about something living on the moon is weird.
Especially if it has no atmosphere.
Yeah, like what are they breathing?
Right. Allegedly. All right. So I think we've given a lot of like possible alien encounters on the moon. The things that I tried. Okay.
Like random lights and stuff, which is weird. It is weird. I'll give it that.
It is weird. Most of it was random lights. And
people who lived on, or aliens who live on the moon, for me are like a lot like people who live in New Mexico.
Why's that?
There's just nothing there. Like you're just living in a vast desert with nothing good.
Yeah, but
sorry for those of you who live in New Mexico. I don't understand you guys. Like you have no plants. It's not okay to live there. Like you need to live somewhere where there's green grass and there's things that are alive. Like not just.
Maybe it's like the moon in that it's hollow in New Mexico. They're all underground.
where is Area 51? Is that New Mexico?
I think that's in Nevada.
Oh, whatever. The same thing.
It's close to
The
New
same
Mexico.
thing. Like,
Yeah.
like people who live in the desert are a lot like people who live on the moon.
Right.
Yeah, just like, why would you live there? Well, because you're avoiding something. It could be your emotions. It could be like your ex.
Yourself.
Or it could be the government.
Yes. It could be the government, your enemies, things like that.
Whatever it is. And
If it's you.
so I think of people living on the moon are like people who live in the desert, in the world.
So have you heard of the Eisenhower Treaty?
There's a treaty by Eisenhower. No,
Yes.
I haven't.
Okay, so
I feel like that's in Stitch. I mean, Lilo and Stitch.
allegedly, I don't. Lilo and Stitch is when I stopped watching.
Disney.
Yes, entirely until we got to the wherever we are now.
A modern age.
Who knows? But okay, so Eisenhower. This is a big thing in conspiracy theories and like UFO lore. Is that Eisenhower allegedly made a treaty with the Greys, the gray aliens. You know, like the gray aliens are
racist.
The one. You're right. That is like saying the blacks when it comes down to it. Like the Greys, like we can't say that, but like that's how they're known as the Greys.
That's wrong.
That's so funny, Jesse. I love that. On so many levels. So the Greys, they're the ones that have like the almond shaped eyes, the big heads that come to the point in the chin. You know what I mean? Like when you come to a traditional stereotypical alien, yes, the Greys, these are them. Okay, Eisenhower and the Greys had a meeting, and at their meeting they came to a treaty, an agreement, a truce of sorts. The terms of the truce were that the Greys, the aliens, they'll share their technology with us. And this is the 1950s. They'll let us know about computers, the transistor, the capacitor, things like that.
Apple.
Yes. They're going to let us know. They're going to
give us the know-how.
Yes. Yeah. On these technology advancing like systems, technology. Yes. Yeah. I tried not to say technology twice, but thank you.
Technology advancing technologies.
So, what are we going to give them in exchange? They can abduct as many of us as they want.
I was going to say human organs, so I think I was pretty close.
You were pretty close.
Yeah,
yes, so they can abduct us, is what it is. So Eisenhower says, I think we'll take that deal.
I feel like there's a lot of abduction stories.
There are tons. We don't have time to get into all the abduction stories now. Yeah. Jesse, when we started doing this,
there was no abduction stories before.
This episode, I meant to mention this earlier, but like the stuff that I wanted to like completely avoid was like blurry pictures of the moon that claim that this is like an alien spaceship or like a base or something like that.
Why would we talk about that on Legends Libations?
Right. Why would we ever talk about things like blurry pictures? What is this, a Bigfoot episode podcast? You never know.
One day.
It turns out that like all the pictures of moon stuff are blurry and pixelated, and
as the moon is very far away.
That's true. You're not wrong about that. But you could say that anything is a blurry picture when it comes down to it. There's a good story that you might find online for those of you listening at home of the wondering why we canceled the Apollo missions after after Apollo missions 17, sorry.
Mm-hmm.
We had Apollo missions 18, 19, 20 planned out.
We were going to the moon again.
Again, the sequel.
Go to the moon and get more rocks.
Get more rocks. That's our cover story. We didn't get enough rocks last time on the moon.
We need 50 more rocks.
We're going to get some more rocks. Yes, we need more rocks. The president of Kenya and Mozambique have been
don't have any rocks.
They don't have any rocks. Yes, exactly. South Africa's got so many rocks and they won't share with them.
They're not sharing their moon rocks.
But they can't get to the moon themselves, so we have to go for them.
How will they ever get Clefable without the moon rocks?
Exactly. They've got lots of Clefairies in that country. Never mind the hunger that's happening across our nation. We must have more moon rocks. Okay. I don't know where we're at, but so they planned for 18, 19, and 20.
But they never happened.
No, they never happened because they said budget cuts and lack of interest. Okay, did we go from 600 million people in the world watching the Apollo 11 landing to like, lack of interest in 18? That's 11 to 18 is only 7 that happened, and it only lasted like a year and a half.
And we were like, we're tired of moon rocks.
We're tired of the moon.
No one has evolved their Clefairy
No
to a
one.
Clefable.
No.
We're pissed.
And no one's going to, so we're not going back to the moon, is what it sounds like it happened. How did they cancel that so quickly, though?
And why haven't we gone to the moon since?
You're
There's
right.
so many questions.
It was 71. I'm mistaken. My bad.
That's still not very many
Yeah,
years. That's 2 years.
68 to 71. So, yeah, you're right. Like, why have we not gone to the moon since then? If 71 was the last time, let's see.
I literally wasn't alive.
That's over 50 years ago.
Yeah, dude, that's forever ago.
Yes. And we don't have the technology. I don't believe that.
Oh, that's flipping lies.
Uh,
Someone's tricking us.
And you know the dumb thing about the pictures? Not only are the pictures like super out of focus and pixelated.
They're on film cameras.
Yeah. So the
another
Chinese went there in like 2020. I think that they sent a probe or a lander. They sent a rover.
Are we sending probes too? So we're like the aliens.
I don't know
The
if
Chinese
we
are sending
We're
probes.
not doing great. America's not doing great at that. I don't think
We're not doing great.
No, we're not doing great. China is landing there though with their probe and their rovers.
And a panda, probably.
Probably so, Panda. But okay, so China saw in the distance that a rover saw this like hut thing in the distance. It was like a right angle like building type structure. And everybody online was like, "Oh well, what's this like hut that's over there? We'll go check it out." You know, lunar send the Chinese rover over there to look at it. And so the Chinese was like, "Okay, we'll send the rover over there to look at it." It was like 80 miles away from where it landed.
Yeah.
But the picture was 80 miles away. So they went over to look at it. And it was like a rock.
Bro, I really thought a Jedi was living in
It
it.
was just a rock, like on the ground. A rock or something.
Cool.
Do you think they like faked that rock? Like
that wasn't really a rock.
It wasn't-
They said it was a rock.
okay, so say
Dude, I
take-
trust the Chinese government more than I trust the American government. I don't know.
I don't know. Say I take a picture of something out in the distance from where I am right now. I take a picture of it, and people online are like, "Oh, well, go look at that, see if it's a
Yeah, go
like
see if
a
it's a rock.
building or a rock or whatever." And I'm like, "Okay," and I completely cut off communication with those people, and I go onto something else on a rock on the ground, and I go, "Hey guys, I went to this rock and I took a picture of it, and it's just like a rock. Don't worry about it. It's a rock."
Could be a lie.
How do they even know? They don't have any way of verifying what I'm doing on the moon at all.
Yeah, no one's
The
checking.
moon is so far away. You can't check my location on the moon.
Yeah, there's no club checking. There's no bouncer.
There's no Verizon, AT&T like looking out on what's going on the moon at all.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no one's saying what's on the moon.
Yeah, so they could have totally lied about that.
Yeah. Who
knows?
I'm probably liars.
I don't trust them to begin
So-
with. I don't
Yeah.
trust them now.
That's interesting. So I do think there's an interesting thing where we are drinking Druid City beer.
I see that.
Yeah.
I taste that.
Dude, this beer is nice. Half of this many I'm feeling the beer.
We're feeling it.
Yeah. So if the episode gets wily.
I haven't even told my best two stories yet.
Yeah. So anyways. Yeah. So
Well, tell me about that.
Druid.
Druids.
Yeah. I feel like we have to do something for Druid City.
This is the Druid City.
There's a type of creature that is very associated with the Druid world.
Witches.
Werewolf.
I was wrong.
What were you thinking?
Witches.
Yeah, which is true. But werewolves. Werewolves are
Sort of like Lupin, werewolves, Harry Potter.
Harry Potter werewolves. Yeah, exactly.
But how is Harry Potter wrong when it comes to the werewolf?
Oh, all over the place.
Of course.
Because Harry Potter usually, you remember how wrong they were about the Sorcerer's Stone? I don't right now, but I'm pretty sure they were.
Oh, yeah.
They had
how
Nicholas
different it was.
Flamel.
I see. They did have Nicholas Flamel, which is more than you would expect from.
Harry Potter.
Yeah.
But so interesting thing, werewolves originally were not associated with the moon.
Really? I thought it was like they were like modus operandi.
That was their thing, right? Like,
yeah. They're all about the moon.
Originally, there's quite a few stories, but Ovid writes in the Metamorphosis that Zeus, he visits Lycaon. Yeah, Lycaon.
Like lycanthropy.
Yeah, exactly. And he disguises himself as a commoner, and he's like, I'm just a normal man. I'm just looking for a good meal and a place to hang out. And I'm walking around. And in Greek mythology,
What are the commoners eat around here is like rice and beans. And that.
Yeah, I want some rice and beans and some
Jambalaya.
olives.
Yeah.
And what I know. And so there's this guy, like Khan. He's like, I don't know if this is a god or not. This could be a god.
He's a little sus.
He's a little sus. So he's like, I'm going to feed him something real weird to see if he is really a god. He's like,
Pine nuts.
no, he's not. It's not pine nuts. It's like he takes his servants or the slaves he found. He's like, I'm going to murder you and turn you into a casserole.
Nice.
Yeah, he's like, entrail casserole.
Intro casserole. There we go.
It's a lot like jambalaya. And he's like,
There we go.
yeah, he's like, hey, stranger, commoner. The commoner's like,
Have some of this.
What's this? Is this common food? And he's like, yeah, this is the most common thing ever. This is jambalaya.
It's the most common thing you know.
Yeah, this is casserole. And Zeus is pissed about this. He's like, dude, you just cooked a human and tried feeding me a human.
Yeah, it's not cool.
You're a wolf.
Oh,
He makes him into a wolf.
randomly.
Yeah, he's like, your punishment
cool with
is
that.
you're a wolf.
And is it only like when the full moon?
No,
How did that come into it?
Nope, it's just like you're a wolf.
From now on.
Yeah, you're a wolf for
Yeah.
now. In other stories, he just kills him with lightning.
That's more
But I
on
like
brand,
the
feel
wolf
like.
one. I like the wolf one.
Yeah.
So the werewolf kind of situation does kind of further on. There is Lycos, who is a Greek hero in Athens, who when you see a statue of him next to Parliament, he is a wolf, half man.
Cool.
You're like, cool, that's awesome.
Yeah.
And you're like, where the heck does wolf and
The moon.
come in association? Well, it's not
America?
so quick.
Um,
It's not so quick. St. Augustine in the City of God mentions people who can change into wolves, which
Like
is
a
weird.
shapeshifter.
Yeah, like a shapeshifter.
Mm-hmm.
They're associated with a lot with witches and wizards and stuff. And the City of God, it's interesting because City of God, like St. Augustine is a well-educated man.
of course.
So it's really weird for him to be like, yeah,
I
there's this group
endorse these people who turn into wolves, stuff like
of, oh
that.
no, he's like, these guys are bad. Don't get involved.
Oh, but he's not questioning their like ability to do it.
No.
Like,
He knows
that's not at all.
he knows they exist.
Yeah. That's the bigger, like he's burying the lead there with they're bad.
Yeah.
Not to mention that they turn into wolves.
Let's go even further. St. Patrick, you know that one where we all celebrate on
I think so. I think I've heard
St.
of
Patrick's Day?
him before. Yeah.
Yeah, the Irish one. Well, he's actually English, but whatever. He is said
Cheerio.
to transform a Welsh king, Veractus, into a wolf.
Just on a whim, or was he
He
misbehaving?
was misbehaving. So
Of
it's like, you're a
course.
wolf.
There you go.
Yeah.
It seems like the other guy turned the other guy into a wolf earlier, like randomly. He could have been anything. So wolf must be some kind of punishment.
Yeah, I mean,
It seems like it is.
there was a point in the medieval period where people
Being
were
a wolf was.
they were preaching against people turning into wolves. They were like,
you watch
do
out
not
for these
turn
guys.
into a wolf.
Turn to a wolf. If your
Yeah.
friend's been turned to a wolf, you can call this number and we will give you help.
In the 90s, people were like, watch out for people who read Harry Potter. In the medieval period, they were like, watch out for people who turn into wolves.
The 80s, they were like, watch out for people who pay Dungeons and Dragons.
Exactly.
So every decade has their same thing.
Yeah, these guys are wolves.
Watch out for these wolves.
Mind you, St. Thomas Aquinas was like, if people turn into wolves, that's because God turned them into wolves.
So that's
So he's
different.
Yeah, that's a little different. So there is a story called Bisclervet. It's a French-English story. There is a werewolf in it. He turns into a werewolf, but he keeps his nature. He's still very noble. He's a very good guy. And his wife tricks
It's hard
him.
to do that.
Yeah.
Every time I turn into a werewolf, I can't control
I get
myself.
fierce.
Yeah.
I get fierce,
Especially
but
about
not.
food.
Yeah, he stays noble, and his wife tries tricking him and takes his clothing. It's his clothing. If he wears clothing, he's not a werewolf. But if
Why she take it from him then?
because she's afraid of him, so she takes his clothing while he's away, and he's stuck in his werewolf form. And a king finds out because he's a very noble acting wolf. And then
He's trying to be a noble person while he's a wolf.
yeah. And so he's like, yeah, super awesome wolf. It can be my companion. And then he finds out that she tricked him and puts clothes on him, and he becomes a man again.
Is it better to be a noble person acting as a werewolf or a werewolf acting as a noble person?
Yeah, those are
Different things.
Yeah, it's better to be a werewolf that acts like a noble person, because then
Probably.
people will know that you're a noble person and free you.
The
from
other way, they
werewolf
think you
form.
just have mental illness.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
If you're that you
Answer
a
my
furry.
question. There we go.
So these are really weird forms of the werewolf. You do have some Germanic berserkers that wear wolf skins rather than
Hardcore.
yeah, they're like, we're gonna go kill people in werewolf skins.
Of course they are.
But really by like the 15th century, there's Germanic witchcraft trials, and they're also starting to try for people who are werewolves. In Spain in the 1500s, werewolf trials become normal.
That's like witch trials.
Yeah, but werewolf trials.
Wow.
You don't
You
ever
said
hear
the
about werewolf
1500s?
1500s.
Okay.
Reformation
So
period.
before the witch ones for sure.
There are parts.
That's kind of like a precedent, though. Like basically, they say we did guys for werewolves in the 1500s. Let's not do guys for witches now.
the Holy Roman Empire in 1650, which we talked about a bit in our
the Spear of Destiny episode.
In
Yeah.
1650, they were doing reviews on people who could be werewolves. They had at least 9 works against werewolves in that time between 1649 and 1679.
So they were doing guys whose job it is to verify the werewolves at this time. Wow.
Yeah. In the Austria and the Bavarian Alps, they believed werewolves persisted all the way up to the 18th century.
I don't doubt it.
That also happened in Spain up to the 1853. In 1853. And there was also an author or a guy who had murdered quite a few people, but he was considered innocent because he had the disease of werewolf or
Lycanthropy.
Yeah, exactly.
There we go.
Yeah, he was like, you're a werewolf, so I guess you're okay.
Or was that not like a punishment?
Nope, it wasn't punishment.
Okay.
Now the big question here is, okay, well then how do people become werewolves?
How do they become
Because it
werewolves?
doesn't seem like associated with the moon yet.
No, it doesn't.
So at this time, wearing the hide of one, a magic salve, and being cursed with satanic rituals would make you a wolf.
Okay.
So you're like, where's the moon in this?
Still,
I thought the werewolf would had the moon much earlier.
me too.
Yeah,
I
they
think
did.
it would have been like the very origin of it is that
Yeah.
it had the moon connected with it.
Not quite yet. I mean, it is because of witchcraft. Witchcraft was heavy witchcraft was associated with full moon.
Yeah,
And so people would transform into wolves during the full moon. This is where the association starts happening.
I like that.
There was the werewolf. There was a guy named Richard Vestangel. I don't know. He's from I don't know where he's from. He's in 1628.
There we go.
Yeah, the werewolves. He says the werewolves are certain sorcerers who have anointed their bodies with an ointment which they make by the instinct of the devil.
Of course.
And putting on a certain enchanted girdle, yeah, right, does not only have the view of others seem as a wolf, but also their own thinking and their own shape as the nature of the wolf. So long as they wear the said girdle, and they do dispose themselves as very wolf, in worrying and killing and most of humane creatures. Strangely, this reminds me actually of furries. People who wear wolf clothes and feel like they're a wolf.
But they
kill
can protect themselves as well by doing the following that you said.
Yeah.
Or, I don't know, like how many furries do you think would stand up to it when it came down to?
Yeah, how many of them would actually wear their, like, become a wolf, like
Right.
actually eat man? Because these guys were eating people,
Mm-hmm.
and so you're like, okay, so what the heck? I don't see.
I'm a little blank on furries, dude. I'm not like my gap in knowledge. I don't know a lot about them.
Yeah, well,
Except what I hear from maybe like conservative media which is like a meme as well.
So I've often gone to Dragon Con, and there's like a lot of people who cosplay, right? But furries have a different category. People are very like, oh, those guys.
But they like eat, sleep, and breathe this though.
Yeah, the idea
like their
is say
thing.
breathe, sleep. I'm a dog. I'm a cat. I'm a turtle.
Okay,
whatever.
I see that.
And that's pretty weird.
But
I don't mean that in a mean way, but
how often, like 1%? Do you see more people who have like full blown paranoid schizophrenia or people who are furries?
yes.
Okay, so it's the yes and
Yes, and
probably so. Okay,
yeah.
I don't want to get lost in the details here, but like it seems like those could Venn diagrams might be kind of a circle.
There might be some
overlap.
So another group said no. When people become werewolves, that's divine judgment, or they were actually people who were excommunicated from the church.
Big one.
Yeah. That seems
Yeah, you could totally see that.
A 16th century Swedish writer said werewolves were initiated by the draining of a cup of specially prepared beer and a repeated set of formulas. In Italy and France and Germany, it was said that a man or a woman who wished to turn into a werewolf, they could do it on Wednesdays and Fridays. They had to sleep outside on a summer night. And
under the days,
under the full moon, with directed on his or her face.
What is this, like a custody arrangement? I'm confused.
Yeah, right. Like it's crazy how much I'm like
detail.
Okay, so where is the moon? So in 1692.
In 19 or 16.
19.
Those are different.
Sorry, 1692.
Are we closer to Columbus or the iPhone?
There was a group.
Columbus.
There was a group of Christians that said that they were werewolves and they were the hounds of God. He claimed that they were warriors who descended into hell to battle witches and demons. Their efforts,
Hell's Angels, there we go.
Their efforts endured that the devil and his minions did not carry off the corn from local crops down the hell.
Magic corn.
Yeah, so that's an interesting thing. But he was charged with being superstitious.
What's the charge for that?
Yeah, what is the charge for being superstitious?
A couple of days.
A couple.
In the hole.
5 gold.
Yeah, exactly. Give me some magic ears of corn.
There are 3 ways to become not a werewolf.
Silver bullet? No.
Nope. Wolfsbane, the use of wolfsbane, surgery, or
what
exorcism.
Is wolfsbane?
It's a plant.
That's cool.
But generally, that could kill them if they were doing like some kind of like surgery or something.
Of course.
Yeah.
Never underestimate wolfsbane.
In the lowlands, you could be cured by just addressing the person by their Christian name. But werewolves and the moon were from classic antiquity. There is some association.
Okay, so how is the association with the moon?
Yeah. So the moon comes in whenever you think of
Professor Lupin,
like from Harry Potter. No, so another idea was to cure yourself, you could be baptized a Christian.
Again.
Yeah, that could be another one. Or you could have devotion to Saint Herbert, who is like...
What's up, Herbert?
He's a hunter saint. I don't know much about him, but he's like the guy on the front of... what's that really bad licorice liquor?
What?
Licorice liquor.
I mean, I heard you. I'm just like hyperbole.
What's that one? What
really bad licorice liquor. I don't know what you're talking about. Jägermeister?
Yeah,
that's what you're talking about.
That has the
deer.
That has the symbol of Saint Herbert on it.
Okay.
And there was even ideas that women could become werewolves whenever they did one of the deadly sins. A demon would come and visit them at night and give them a wolf skin, and they would eat their own children, the children of their family members, and then of people unrelated to them.
That's everybody.
But they really gets associated with the witchcraft. It's the witchcraft
I can see that
happens under the full moon. Mm-hmm. That they're like, okay, so people become werewolves under witchcraft. This was confirmed in 1941 in a movie called The Wolfman, and the sequel in 1943 called Frankenstein Meets the Wolfman. This reinforces the association of wolves and the moon. So there was already this associated idea. But the idea wasn't put in.
So much association, though. Like, the association never went away.
Yeah, like it was with witchcraft. It was with
women, wolves, plants, witchcraft. Like
women, wolves, and witchcraft.
Yes,
the 3
they
Ws.
go hand in hand.
Yeah, so it's not like great for the trying to figure it out.
It's not great for the political correctness of the era.
I mean, like you guys are still being sexist.
Yeah.
The moon's influence has also been associated with mystery, magic, and transformation of various cultures. The reality is that werewolves are just mostly associated with vampires and witches.
So not the moon.
Because vampires and witches come out during the moon.
Yeah.
That's how they were associated. Yeah, it's a secondary thing.
Yeah, it's not the preliminary thing that you...
I really thought I would get more in that. because in the 1940s were really what really established like
The
full
moon,
moon
and that, yeah.
and that there was a lot of association even in the medieval ages that during the moon, like when the moon was out, the nighttime they would come out, but the full moon thing, it was in the night.
Gave them light more, like it wasn't a specific
transformation
thing
without choice.
Okay, so we talked about Eisenhower earlier in the treaty that he made with the aliens.
Mm-hmm.
So that's not going to come out in the news. You're not
Yeah.
going to say that like with your administration.
Yeah, why would you say that?
Because you have to have like a document or a legal framework protecting you from your decisions when you are the president or the what do you call it? The legislature, the Senate, and the House of Representatives.
Yeah.
So they wanted to have a legal framework for the government and how they interpreted like if the event that we found aliens. So they asked this this think tank called the Brookings Institute, and they had a report, and the report said that if the government finds aliens, that we should not tell them that we find aliens because it's going to cause a panic in the general populace, and they're going to freak out if we find aliens. And they're going to be like, oh, well, the religions and like, oh, well, this, the national security. And like, it's going to be pandemonium if they realize that we have aliens. So if we find aliens and we're the government, we're going to keep that a secret. We're not going to say anything about it.
Yeah, of course.
So that gives them like the permission to not say anything at all if we find aliens.
Yeah.
So in addition, that was called Executive Order 10501.
Oh, wait. Yeah, you're right.
No, Executive Order 66 is from Star Wars where they kill all the Jedi. This is Executive Order 10501. And this is by Eisenhower that we talked about earlier in 1953, that we will not discuss aliens with the people because they cannot handle it.
We can't handle aliens. Probably.
Maybe. Who
I
knows?
don't know if we can.
I don't really know. Probably not.
But it's just all aliens.
These general people, like, they probably can't do it. So that gives them like the legal framework for doing, because people would panic if we did that. But you have some people who work for the government who are the whistleblowers who like want, and they want to expose the truth, they say, of our dealings with UFOs, aliens, extraterrestrials. You can find a lot of stories for this on YouTube of people who claim that they were, we're working for NASA. We see some documents or whatever that prove they're aliens. Okay, there's a bunch of stuff that I would not give any credibility to at all. There's also that we didn't mention earlier, we probably did, that pictures of things on the moon or whatever are not, it could be interpreted as anything.
In some
whatever.
ways,
okay, I like this guy's story. So this guy named Carl Wolf.
Goes right into werewolves.
Nothing to do with werewolves, but yes, exactly. Good segue. So he was a contractor who worked for the NSA, FBI, CIA, NASA, that sort of thing.
Everyone.
Okay. Carl Wolf in the 70s, he had knowledge of these systems that the government NASA used to transmit photographs from the space probes back to Earth or whatever. Like he was like a photo forensics expert of the time in the 70s. And he worked at the Langley Air Force Base where the CIA has long been rumored to operate from, which is like in Virginia. Okay, so he was there one day and they were hosting a lot of like VIPs, and they were having like a special like meeting amongst these like VIPs or whatever. And but it happened to be on a time where there were having a malfunction with one of the computer systems or whatever that was supposed to show these presentations to the VIPs that were happening. Yeah, you know, like when the worst thing happens at the worst possible moment.
Always.
Yeah, of course, like it always does. Okay, so Carl Wolf, he's on the Air Force Base where he's a contractor, and he's the only one that knows how to do the systems. Yeah. He's familiar with the processes of how they transmit the photographs from, this is before Apollo. This is from the Voyager spacecraft, and it was like from the lunar orbiter that happened in 1965.
Oh, nice.
And
I remember that time.
Me too. Okay, so he's doing repairs on this thing in this room or whatever for these VIPs. Nerd. He's a total nerd. Okay, and so when he's walking in there, he notices the crowd. He's like, he thinks this is like the CIA, NASA, NSA, whatever. But he's walking in there, and the people that have name tags or whatever, they have like Japan, Germany, Italy, Australia.
That's not the same.
Canada.
Yeah,
it's not the same thing. They're an international group of people.
Yeah, that's not the CIA.
It's not a secret or whatever.
That's all of the people.
Yep, exactly. And so he goes up to the systems, and he's repairing them because they're getting ready for a presentation for these people. And Karl Wolf had top secret clearance, and in order to do this. In order to do this job, they had to change his clearance to above top secret. And that's what it's called.
What's above top secret?
No, above top secret is like a thing. Like they stamp your thing with top secret, and then there is above top secret that can
you can do anything.
Yeah, and no, there's more above top secret too. Like above top secret. Yeah. So you can go from above top secret, but that's not what we're talking about right now. We're just talking about regular above top secret.
This is a regular above top secret.
So he's doing the regular above top secret at Langley Air Force Base, and he's gone into a building that he's never had clearance to go in before. And this is where the international team is that he's doing this for. So he's repairing this machine, and sometime during the process, him and this one guy who are working on it together, they strike up a conversation with each other. And this guy says, hey, by the way, we've discovered a base on the backside of the moon. And Karl Wolf's like, oh, wait, what? And he's like, oh, yeah, I've got some photos here. I can show it to you. And so this guy, who's like a airman serviceman of computers or whatever, and he shows Karl a series of photographs that the lunar orbiter took when it was on the backside of the moon. It allegedly took photos of a base that had buildings, it had bridges, roads, and
that'd be bizarre.
Yes, it was absolutely bizarre. And this was in the 1970s or 60s, my bad. So decades pass, and Karl Wolf goes to this UFO conference that's happening in Washington, D.C.
I really feel like only nerds go to
UFO
conference.
Karl Wolf is going to the UFO conference, and he's like, I will swear on Congress that I saw these pictures that this airman showed him in 1965 of the bases on the backside of the moon, because he claims that he saw them because he was granted this above top secret security clearance during this one time. And this was in 2001 when this happened at the conference. And of course, no government agency was like, hey, Mr. Wolf, what did you see in these photos or anything?
Yeah.
And then in 2018, he was hit by an 18-wheeler and he died while he was bicycling on the side of the road. Like, that's a weird death. Kind of.
It seems like we won't get the end of that one.
No. But like they had 17 years because he said from 2001, he was like, I will testify about my experience. And then no one requested him to testify. And then he got hit by an 18-wheeler. Like, is that normal?
Yeah. I'd give it that.
You never know.
You know what I forgot?
What?
Just because honorable mention, it was talking about werewolves, and that's weird.
Yeah.
Werewolves get associated with the moon in the 1940s. You know what else gets associated with werewolves in the 1940s? Go and take a random guess towards something that we've kind of come back to over and over and over.
Ireland.
Nazis.
Freaking
Nazis, man.
I knew it was one of those two. Or Helena,
it's either Ireland or Nazis, right?
Or Helena Blavatsky.
In between 1942 and 43, there was a Nazi group, secret opt group. They were towards the final days of war, called Operation Werewolf. And they were supposed to function on the opposite side, like in Allied territories, like the United States or France or
they were supposed to operate in our territories. Yeah. That's weird.
So Operation Werewolf was supposed to operate in our territories.
That's cool.
So
dangerous.
Yeah, are they among us? I don't know. They could be among us.
Wait, is that justification for them being like undercover, or for them just like being generally reckless for no reason? I don't know.
I'd probably think undercover or werewolves themselves.
It depends on what they do.
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't get much information on them, as if they were a secret society that still existed. You know how that goes.
I believe that.
It's weird. Yeah. So you have a, we've even brought Nazis in on the moon. Not that they really are very associated with the moon. I don't know. Probably they are.
I don't know. I'm not like a big like Nazi and moon sort of situation.
Yeah, it's more like werewolf and moon.
Yeah, the moon.
I mean,
we got to draw the line somewhere. Really.
Yeah. The Nazis can't be everywhere.
You can't just say Nazis in anything and it work.
It doesn't work that way.
Right.
But you had one more story.
I do.
And I would hate to, I mean, I'm feeling drunk enough where maybe I don't know how to have a last story, but
that
like last story.
I don't know if I talked about this before, but
you're already laughing. You haven't even like.
Remember earlier you said something about why would we do something on the moon, or why would we approach it with like something of an attitude? And I wanted to spoil this part for you, but I didn't say it then. Now I can't remember what that was. But
sassy attitude.
Maybe you can help me remember what it was, because when we landed on the moon, Apollo 11, Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin, they left a gold olive branch, which was a symbol of peace.
On the moon?
On the moon.
They left a gold olive.
They left a gold olive branch, and they also left a disc. And on the disc was microscopically carved messages of peace from 73 different world leaders. So you had to have a microscope to like look at it, but you could see all these messages written on the disc. It's very small, so this size like a quarter or whatever.
I hope one of them said something inappropriate, like
exactly. And
you just hope, like, hopefully someone said something
like D's nuts or something like that.
yeah. Just something like not cool
at all. Apparently, it was messages of peace, but you know, like you never know what you get from these kind of guys. Especially if they're not going to get elected next year, they like know it's over.
They're like,
it's like Trump. He's like, I've done 2 terms of going out now, and I'm just going to say whatever.
Just say whatever I want, do whatever I want. You're just like, freaking A.
Most likely. So, have you heard of remote viewing before?
No.
Okay, so you don't know what remote viewing is at all?
No, not at all.
Okay. So remote viewing is this like psychic ability that certain people claim that they have, where they can project their consciousness into other locations.
This is like whenever I found out that the Nazi situation for the Spear of Destiny was all into someone's brain.
Yep, pretty much. Exactly. That's what it is. Okay, so the U.S. government spent millions of dollars on testing these psychics to see if they had remote viewing abilities.
That's why we're having tax cuts, right?
Yep, that's where our tax dollars were going at some point. In like the 50s, 60s, 70s, we were...
that's our grandparents. So fine.
We're spending money on these guys, and we're giving them these coordinates, and they're like, I'm going to project my consciousness onto like the enemy's whatever. But they ended up being able to kind of get it right a little bit with certain people.
Wow.
And they were good at it. There was like a handful of guys, and they were really good at being able to identify what the coordinates of these superiors were giving them were. And they could project their consciousness there, and they could tell you what was there.
Weird. That's super strange.
America spent a lot of money on this, and this was like in the MK Ultra CIA sort of thing. And to like give it a little bit of like credibility, they took some of these guys down into submarines, and they gave them the coordinates of something. And in the submarine, the idea was that like they would not be able to have contact with like anything else, because they're at like the bottom of the ocean. They can't access any outside information at all. And they were still able to get it right on these coordinates that they were given. Yes. So Ingo Swann was part of one of these studies at the Stanford Research Institute in California in the 1960s.
Yeah.
And he, as a child, he displayed these like psychic abilities to like do this sort of thing. He had like a bunch of strange things about him where he could like project his consciousness into different spaces and be able to observe things from there.
The only people I hear ever talk about this are people who do way too much acid. So this is interesting.
Yeah, exactly. And so he was able to do it with a more than random percentage chance of being right about it. And so I want to say the intelligence communities, or it was just the Stanford Research Institute's like ties to the CIA with the MK Ultra stuff. They did this experiment where they asked him to project his consciousness. They wanted him to remote view Jupiter. Usually they were doing places on Earth, and like it was like easily verifiable. But Ingo Swann didn't want to do places that he couldn't verify where he was telling the truth or not, because if there couldn't be an outside observer of this, they wouldn't know if he was right or if he was wrong.
Yeah,
because it was Jupiter, because it's like way out there, and this is the 60s. So they said we have sent the like Voyager spacecraft on the way to Jupiter now. So after you give us your prediction or like your remote viewing of Jupiter, we'll be able to confirm or disprove it based on what the Voyager spacecraft sees.
Yeah.
Which is going to happen at some point. It's already on its way there. It takes like years to get there. So Ingo Swann does his remote viewing of Jupiter, and he talks about how like there's like these storms that occur and there's like clouds and stuff like that, and like this atmosphere is like really extreme all the time, and whatever things that
we know.
Yeah, things that we know, we can see, we can observe from the spacecraft.
Yeah.
But he also said that there was a ring around Jupiter that was composed of like small asteroids and like dust and ice, stuff like that. And up until that time, we had never seen a ring around Jupiter because this was in the 60s, rings around Saturn. And years later, when the Voyager 1 spacecraft passed Jupiter, it confirmed what he said, that there were rings around Jupiter.
That's cool.
Yeah, so he not only knew that there was like the storms and stuff like that, things that you could kind of surmise, but he was like, nope, there's a ring. And people were like, oh, I don't know if he's telling the truth. And then years later, there it is. Boom.
His rings.
The ring is there. You can't deny it that he was right about that. So he has a little bit of talent when it comes to this like remote viewing thing. You think like we're going to give him a little bit of credibility. So they give him a target. And this is not just part of the research thing that happened. Yeah. He was like back at his home one day chilling, and he receives like a letter in the mail, and it's to tell him to show up at the rotunda of this museum in Washington, D.C. I think it was like the Smithsonian or whatever, like Natural History Museum.
Guys who are hiding the giants.
Yeah, the guys who are hiding the giants. You're exactly right, Jesse. I love that you remember that. That's very important. And so he shows up there on this certain date, and these guys show up, and they pass him a message on a card or whatever, and it's like, don't say anything, but we want you to come outside and like get in this SUV. And he goes outside and he gets the SUV, and it's like
he's very trusting.
Yes, exactly. Well, there's some more. I'm giving you the TLDR version of it. But he goes and gets in the SUV, and this guy presents himself to him, and he calls him Mr. Axelrod. And Mr. Axelrod tells him that they've been watching him, and they know that he's got this like special ability to be able to do this remote viewing thing, and they want to recruit him to do a special project for the U.S. government. Mm-hmm. And they're like, okay, well, if you want to do this project, then you can't have any contact with your like family or anything. Like, you've got to be sealed off in this like certain building until you get done with the project. We'll pay you $1,000 a day, and this is the 70s, so $1,000 a day was a lot back then.
I feel like $1,000 a day today would
be a lot. Exactly. But it was like $6,000 a day, like back in the day with inflation. So he's like, yeah, I'll do this or whatever. And so he does the remote viewing project, and they give him the coordinates, and they're like, here, this is what you're going to be remote viewing. So they give it to him, and he's like, okay, we're going to the moon. He sees it, or he does his remote viewing thing, and he's on the moon. And there's a bunch of them in succession, and he's like doing each of the remote viewing things. He's like, oh, this is a crater. This is like a ridge, like overlooking this, like with the mountain range, blah, blah, blah. This is like a desolate area. But then some places he gets like later on, he's like, oh, okay, well, this is like an artificial structure. This is a building. This is like bridges. There are like not people, but they're like industrial activity that is occurring here. And the more that he follows these coordinates that he's given and like explores them further, I guess, with like his like mind consciousness, he gets to these like dome like structures where there are beings inside.
Orthodox churches.
Yes. Okay, and so like it looks like the beings inside are these like humanoid figures who are doing this like mining operation type thing.
Gray.
Yes, maybe I want to say they look more like me and you than they do like traditional grays. Yeah. And eventually he's like looking at them through this dome that they're operating in. And eventually their attention turns and they look at him. And it's like 1, 2, 3. And eventually like it spreads the contagion through the populace that's right there. And they all look at him. They see him, but he's remote viewing. He's not even there. You know what I mean? He's just like his consciousness. Psychic. He's being psychic. And he feels in his earth body back home, that Axelrod, Mr. Axelrod taps on his shoulder. And he says, come back to us. Come back. And so Ingo Swann, he comes back out of his remote viewing thing, and he's like, catching his breath on the chair, and he looks at Axelrod and he's like, you knew that they were psychic when you sent me in. And Axelrod says that the experiment is over and that he's got to go home, and like that's the end of his assignment.
Wow.
But it sounds like based on his experience of being right, I would not trust him, you know? Like I would at least give him a little bit of credibility.
Yeah, that's super weird though.
Yeah, it was good.
Ooh.
And so there's like more to the story of Ingo Swann, and that he ends up meeting Mr. Axelrod again. I feel like it was an exchange of experiences. Like Ingo Swann helped Axelrod with this experiment specifically, that Axelrod rewarded him with the following experience that I'm going to tell you, is that he got to go to Alaska with Mr. Axelrod, and he got to witness a UFO rising out of this like lake that they saw. They like camped out at, and they watched it come out of the water and shoot into the sky. Yeah. And I was like, well, that doesn't have to do anything to do with the moon at all. But like, why would he choose him to do that if he wasn't like getting information or remote viewing or anything?
That could have been in our Antarctica episode.
Yeah. But it was
You
like
said Alaska or
Alaska.
Antarctica?
It was like off in the
That's the
random.
opposite.
Yeah, it is the opposite. But I don't know. Ingo Swann's story is really cool though.
Yeah,
Like
that's really cool. That's weird.
he recorded all this in a book called Penetration, 1998 is when he published it. But
Well, it sounds way too sexual.
it does. But the
But
thing about
we won't go into that.
the Voyager thing confirming the rings on Saturn,
That's weird.
I'm like, that's pretty good. Like I give you a little bit of credit for that. Did I talk about the submarine thing?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Do the drinks and what they do.
Yeah, exactly. The remote viewing stuff seems like it has a lot of credibility to it.
Yeah, that's so strange. Naturally, I don't even trust that kind of stuff, but
No,
it
not
seems
either. But like,
very
it sounds
weird.
like some of it knows what's going on. Yeah, it's weird. So like, dude, what do we think about the moon and the beer?
The moon. Okay, so like, let's first start with the fact that we've talked about this much of the moon when there's this much of the moon. Like,
yeah,
this is
absolutely.
one of those situations where it's like Antarctica, like it's too big for us.
It's too big. We shouldn't even do it.
Yeah, like we should have said
No.
thank you.
We should have said no.
but
We
maybe
should have gone
need to
home.
do something smaller.
Yeah.
We should have just bought the beer,
Yeah.
but free beer, so you know.
No, we gave it our best shot. I feel like.
I hope that you, Druid City, appreciate what we tried here, because I don't know if we did it, but we tried.
We had a lot about the moon though. Like,
So
dude,
much about the
like,
moon. But I would give the moon. I think it has to have like almost like above 10, because we can't.
it's
cover
good.
it.
It's
Yeah,
good. It's good. I give it like a 9.
A 9.
Because at a certain point, you bounce back off the upper limit. You know what I mean? Like if you're
it's-
too good for this, you got to come back down. So it's like
just
it's a
too
9.
big. But then there's another part of me that's like, if all of this is wrong and the moon is just boring desert space like New Mexico,
Yeah, that
really
was
sad.
Really
yeah.
suck. Absolutely.
Yeah, so the moon hangs between a 9 and a 2.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's why I give it like a 9.5 probably. And
Yeah,
not
so-
9. We'll give it a 9.
We're shooting for a 9, but like the moon could potentially outside
It
of
could be
our
a dud.
stories-
It could be a total
could
flop.
be a dud. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. But I had fun with this.
It could be the Jar Jar Binks of conspiracies.
He's either a Sith Lord or he's not. But
Yeah.
we're not positive yet.
We're not sure. The beer.
The beer is great.
I like the beer, dude.
I
I,
like
think
the
the beer is
beer.
one of our best drinks that we've had, I think.
Yeah, definitely. I'm gonna give it a 9.
Dare to say a 9 as well. I was what
Yeah,
I was
yeah.
going to say. I already had it in my head.
Yeah, it will get you drunk. Yeah.
Like we currently are.
Oh God, I don't even always know what we're talking about right now. Like this.
Me neither.
Sorry, this is it. This is
bad.
the beer.
But
It's
hold
good.
on. Does the moon have water?
Does beer have water?
Yes, and yes. The answer is yes. Okay, so for a long time they were like, "Oh, the moon doesn't have water on it," or whatever.
But maybe it does.
Yes, we observed it may be happening, and then at some point recently, in the last few years, they confirmed that in craters that never see the light of day, because the craters are always in the dark.
Mm-hmm.
Ice can exist in the craters, and they found ice in the craters.
Nailed it.
Yep.
Nailed
So there's moon, water, ice,
Moon, water.
moon ice. I
Druid
guess.
City. Moonlighter. Indian Pale Ale.
Moonlighter Indian Pale Ale. There we go.
So Druid City, thank you very much for sponsoring this episode.
We appreciate it. We enjoyed the Moonlighter a lot.
It was a great beer. And
maybe
thank
too
you guys
much.
for watching. Thank you for those of you who've supported us
And stuck with us.
Yeah, and sorry that we've been MIA for a few months.
But we're back at it now again, and we really appreciate those of you who have supported us through our store online. You can follow it at legendsandlibations.com.
Is that what we are?
I think so, something like that. I don't know.
We have a card.
If you type it in, like
you'll find us.
we have a card. We'll give it to you.
Get a sweater because winter is coming.
Exactly.
Like in 6 months.
And
winter is coming.
That's how long it'll take on shipping, probably. You never know.
But we super.
I got a hat, and I really like the hat a lot. The hat's
Why didn't
cool.
you wear the hat today?
I don't know, because I want to show my non-bald head before my hair falls out, dude. I don't know. You never know.
He's gonna wear the hat next week, guys.
My hair will fall out. Yeah,
Or next
exactly. All right.
Anyways, we appreciate you guys. Welcome
love
to
you. We
another
appreciate
Legends of
Legends and
Yeah,
Libations.
that is
There we
Legends
go.
of Libations. Sipping through history.
That's right.